Democrats launched quite an attack on RFK Jr. in their questions regarding his stance on vaccines, big pharma, and his goal of addressing chronic disease among Americans. Senator Tuberville remains stalwart in supporting Trump's nominee, saying this is another smear campaign from Democrats to somehow make RFK Jr. appear unqualified for the job. Tuberville says RFK Jr. is not about maintaining the status quo, but about helping Americans live longer, healthier lives. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
This week, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency found a body under the Interstate 10 bridge in Spanish Fort. That body was discovered on Wednesday and caused eastbound traffic on I-10 to be diverted to another exit. The Baldwin County Coroner's Office is now working to identify that body. A stolen pace car from the South Alabama Speedway in Kinston has been recovered. Ashton Nobles is now being charged in the theft of that car. Police were able to locate the car on property near Kinston by use of drones. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up!
Silly woman. If you're gonna cough, please leave me. You are a rude, terrible person.
It's all a Fugazi. You know what Fugazi is?
No. Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, Fugazi. It's a wazi. It's a woozy. It's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not real.
Right.
Food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
It's not just about sex.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. So much to get to today. In studio with me, we have Eddie Bader. He's back, baby. Bader is back. And Byron Sheehy is here. He's back. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good. Beautiful day out there.
It is, man.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah.
It's been dreary. It's been cold.
Right.
It's been all the things. It's actually a nice time now.
Alabama weather, man.
Yeah, you getting things done?
Kinda, looking at the weather. I'm doing a little bit.
You know the rule.
Always be closing.
Well, now that you mention that, Joey, yes, I've set up a few of those. Trying to get back in the black.
Wait, is that coffee?
No.
Okay.
No, not today. I didn't deserve it today.
And you getting things done?
I'm trying to. I'm not as proficient as Eddie.
Yeah, I know. Many of us aren't.
That's a low bar, though. So.
Well, just know this. It takes a lot of rejection. I'm telling you, if you don't get rejected 4 or 5 times a day, you're not trying hard enough.
I'm used to that.
We're still talking about real estate?
And everything.
Everything. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep chipping away at the rock then here with this show until everybody accepts me. You know, I saw on the Book of Faces.
Yeah.
It's people asking in Montgomery Uncut, like, is there a good Montgomery podcast? And I was so tempted to be like, my show, and it's better than any of your stupid shows. And maybe if you listened, you'd learn something you don't.
You and I both saw that this morning, and I even started typing, but I was like, I don't want the heat. I don't want the haters.
Maybe we need to start inviting the haters.
Embrace
it's like, y'all so dumb, and like you might learn a thing or two if you actually pay attention.
I agree, but honestly, 2025, I'm trying to eliminate haters. That is my goal.
I'm trying to
eliminate them, or at least quit listening to them anyway. Yeah.
That was my goal.
Now I'm just thinking of that, you know, this scarf was made of the finest. I'm thinking of that skit. Anyway, 272-9228 is the number. Clark and Electrobama, hold on, because we have our regular guest.
Oh, that's right.
Erica Thomas, editor-at-large at 1819 News. Erica, how you doing today?
Howdy, y'all. I'm doing good. I'm heading to Mobile today, so I'm excited to see the other side of the bay down here in South Alabama. You know, this time last week I couldn't get over there, so it's amazing how beautiful and warm it is this week. Just really been enjoying the sunshine.
So, have you been dealing with like the malicious compliance and misinformation? It seems to be happening all over the nation. It seems to be happening not just in D.C., but even in like Mobile. I believe it was the school system down there's like, ICE is going to show up at an elementary school and take these dastardly kids because that's just what fascists like to do, steal kids.
Yes, well, we all know that the leftist media likes to use scare tactics and fear-mongering to kind of advance their agenda, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening. You know, now that President Donald Trump is in office, there's nothing they can do about that, but they can still scare people and still kind of try to get people on their side, and these crazy things that they say. You know, the right-wing folks are often accused of conspiracy theories and all these things, but we're seeing now, even with some of the COVID, quote-unquote, conspiracy theories, these things are actually true. In this case, though, these things are not true. There was an internal memo that went around Mobile County Public Schools. They were saying that they're preparing for ICE to come in and raid the schools, and this is what you need to do to protect the children. None of that's happening. They're not raiding schools. They're not targeting children. They're not just trying to rip moms away from their children. But we will see reports of that happening, because with what they're doing, getting these criminals off the street, these are actually criminals that are being targeted. And a lot of times, some that have been deported multiple times and continue to, become suspects in violent crimes. When they're targeting them, they don't know who's with them. You know, if they see them on the street or if they get pulled over for drunk driving, there might be a child with them. So in that case, yes, there will be a child. And we will see a photo of a bunch of ICE agents surrounding a car with a child inside looking terrified, because those left-wing scare tactics are what they're going to continue to use to make people believe that President Donald Trump is some evil man that wants to just destroy children, and that's just not the case.
Do you think they're jumping the gun, though, in the sense that because the focus is on people who have committed heinous crimes, it just seems like, have y'all ever read The Boy Who Cried Wolf?
Do you think who's jumping the gun?
These folks coming out saying, oh, my goodness, they're going to separate children from their parents. We're crying. Hold on, Erica. Let me set my cell phone so I can have a big cry.
They're definitely jumping the gun, because, like I said, that's part of the scare tactics. That's what's going to get the better headlines. That's what's going to get the better photos, the better attention. And so they can scare people. They can scare these immigrants that are now living in fear, thinking that, even immigrants that have gone about getting here the correct way, they're even scared because they think they're going to be targeted. That is not the case. There is a list. If you're on a list, a lot of people say I'm probably on a list because I own so many guns or whatever. These are criminals that are already on a list. They need to be deported. They need to be out of our country. They're not here legally, and they continue to commit violent crimes, and so that's enough of a reason to get them out of here. And that was Trump's campaign promise. You know, he said the Biden administration has allowed so many illegal immigrants to just waltz right over that southern border. We're going to get the ones out that need to be out, that don't need to be here. They're causing problems. They're putting strain on our law enforcement, on Border Patrol agents even. You know, this has been a long time coming. And it's happening. So, but it's nothing for, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have any reason to be scared, you know?
There you go. And just shifting away from the national politics and just, it's such nastiness. Some fallout from the very cold temperatures, especially where you reside, from last week. It looks like this really affected fish, of all things.
Yeah, it did. In Alabama's Gulf Coast, these fish are used to certain temperatures. They can handle cold temperatures, but not for such prolonged periods of time. And so we're seeing a lot of fish kills in different bay areas. And there was a post by the Alabama Marine Resources Division, and they said they looked into this. There were thousands and thousands of dead fish, mostly mullet, but there were some other species among them. But the photo on 1819news.com is unreal. I mean, you could not put your finger in this body of water without touching a dead fish, and you know that smell is just terrible. The good news is here, they said the impact environmentally really isn't that bad. It's just mostly the smell and the decaying carcasses that are going to cause.
I've got the photo pulled up on the
negative
stream
impact.
right now, and that is, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fish.
It is a lot, and it's very sad, you know. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, where PETA said fish have feelings and emotions. So RIP the fish.
Yeah, well, that is certainly sad. Now, continuing a topic we've discussed, looks like y'all have another baby box placed, a safe haven there in Mobile. I know this is something that's being expanded across the state. So for folks who haven't heard about this, tell us about this idea and maybe how, if folks in this area want to keep adding to the list of how many of these safe havens we have around the state, how they could do so.
Yeah, so this is something that I've been following since the beginning. I just thought these safe haven baby boxes were amazing, and I didn't realize how much they would be used. But State Representative Donna Gibbons, she's really responsible for making this possible. She, a couple of years ago now, passed legislation to allow women to surrender their babies up to 45 days after birth if they weren't able to take care of the baby, or if the baby was in a dangerous situation and they wanted to put the baby up for adoption. And the reason for this, the Safe Haven baby box lady that started it, she was actually adopted as a child, and she found out her mom had to surrender her. And oftentimes, children are found in dumpsters. You know, moms that are desperate, they don't know what to do, they don't have anywhere to go, they don't have anywhere to turn. They really go to these horrific lengths, and often the babies don't make it, they die. So these baby boxes are no questions asked. You can drop your baby off. I mean, it sounds like we're talking about, used clothes or something, but this is a real issue, because some of the baby boxes in Alabama have already been used. The moms are able to drop their babies off, no questions asked. 60 seconds after the baby is put in the box, an alarm goes off in the inside of the building, wherever that baby box is. It alerts authorities. They quickly come rescue the baby from the box. They take it directly to the hospital, and from there, the HR takes over. The baby's put into foster care until they can find a forever loving adopted home. And there are plenty of families in Alabama that want to adopt, and so it kind of just helps save these babies, because before Gibbons passed this law, you only had up to 72 hours to surrender your baby, and it had to be at a hospital. In this case, it's kind of like a mail drop box. There's 2 boxes in Mobile now. One is at USA Women and Children's Center, and the other one is at a fire department. You can get that address on 1819news.com. But you just simply go up to that building, you cool down the window and put the baby in there. And it's quite incredible that we have to have this type of thing, but it's already saved lives, so we know it works.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I always appreciate your reporting. You feeling all right with all these cold snaps and the change of temperatures? Folks have been, I know, dealing with some sickness.
Yeah, I always have allergies anyway, so that always impacts me. And then earlier this week, I got the stomach bug that everybody's getting, but I'm feeling much better now and just thankful to be able to enjoy the warm temperatures. I'm telling you, I'm made for warm temperatures.
That's why you moved down there. Have you gotten your Gulf of America shirt yet from the Floribama?
It's on the way. I'm tracking it. It's UPS is delivering it probably the beginning of next week. So I'm waiting to get mine. Have you ordered yours yet?
No, I need to, Eddie. We need to get on that.
Now.
Yeah, we need to. I keep forgetting. You want one of those, Byron?
Field trip. Let's go pick it up.
Go pick it up. You just want to get drunk.
No, I just want to see the hot ladies.
Oh, right, yeah.
Alabama's beautiful beaches, man.
And there's like 3 different color options. I had a really hard time deciding which one to get. So once mine comes in, I might go get another one in a different color or a different size. But I'm just really excited to get it. The only thing, I wish it said Gulf of America, like America.
Yeah, how we actually say it around these parts here. Well, I always appreciate it, Erica. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, thinking about, or maybe you want to provide a story, lead to a story, how can they do so?
Well, all of my stories and the stories from my amazing coworkers, they're at 1819news.com. When you're reading one of our stories, you can scroll down to the very bottom and you can see our email addresses. Click on those. Shoot us an email. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. I like constructive criticism. And also, you can email news at 1819news.com, and you can famous in front of all of us, because that goes to everybody. Or you can send us your ideas. Maybe you know somebody incredible and amazing in Alabama and you want them to be featured in a story. I would love to hear about that. So please email news at 1819news.com.
Well, I appreciate it as always, and until next week. Thank God
you.
bless.
God bless.
Again, that's Erica Thomas, their editor-at-large at 1819news.com. Always appreciate her insight and her work, especially there on the Gulf of America.
Feels good to say, right?
I know, it does feel good to say. People are
rolls
like,
off the
y'all are
tongue.
so childish. I'm like, well, it's the simple things in life.
Oh, I love it. I'll even love it more, people freaking out about it.
Oh, yeah, it does add to it. It's like, how dare you? This is so childish. It's like, okay.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, Gulf of America,
And people
baby.
explain it to them. North America, South America.
Right, it's in between the Americas.
Why are we calling it Mexico? All right, people just, people go nuts about it. I'm enjoying that.
Right.
The liberal tears are actually doing something for me.
Hey, guys, on the fish, have y'all ever seen anything like that?
Oh, no.
I haven't either.
Salmon, go up in Alaska, salmon swim upstream, they die. They don't come back. So you see that.
Right, but I mean.
But they're going to mate, right?
They're going to spawn.
But locally, have you ever seen anything like that around here?
Not that much, no. But she's right. The smell. Oof, God. Yeah, because on the lakes we'll have shad kills every once in a while, and you'll notice.
Is there a worry of bears in Alaska if enough salmon are piling up there during that season?
That's who cleans it up. That's
Right.
the bears. They clean it up.
How close to a bear have you ever gotten?
Closer than you and I. I've smelled
Really?
the breath of a bear.
On
Killed
purpose?
a bear.
Black bear?
Yeah.
Okay.
A
You're making
brown
that
bear,
up.
close as you and I.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Alaska.
I forgot you lived up there.
Yeah.
Man, that had to be a thing you will never forget.
I had my ex-father-in-law was well, he's a good guy. Great hunter. He even mentioned several times in Alaska Magazine. And he taught me many things about brown bear. And one of the most important lessons he taught me is that is the one animal, if you wound it, it will come kill you. Its ultimate goal at that point is find what wounded it and kill it.
Wow.
Respect.
And I've seen it.
It's like the John Wick of animals.
And you can look on videos, man. When they get shot, if they're looking at you, and you'll see them, man. They're coming for you.
They're plenty
And usually-
smart, right?
Yeah, very smart. And usually it's the guy behind you that stops that bear from killing you, because you got the one shot and you're shaking, and the
Yeah.
devil can't get to you. So yeah.
I'm not in that situation.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well,
Byron's good.
I've heard of guys that do that with just bow hunting.
There are, Joe.
That's insane, because
Now,
you
those
got
are the
one
ones-
shot.
you got
You better
one
hit the
shot.
heart.
And there's several of them that won't have the guide behind them with a gun. They're just bravado, man. And Yeah, that ain't me. If it is me, you'll see a little pistol on my side, and the pistol is for me. It's not for the bear.
There's a video on YouTube of someone doing something like that with a lion. He's just sitting there. He's the bait, and the lion's charging after him, and he hits it with the rifle, and the body falls like 3 or 4 feet in front of him. Like,
yeah, there's several like that with bears like that. Videos on YouTube, and you can't believe it. Because that bear, like his paw, it'll be 2 your hands. That's a bear paw.
Hold on, folks. We're just covering this. I hadn't seen Eddie in a few days. I hadn't seen Byron in several days either. So it's just good to catch up about. I didn't know that. Of all these years talking to you publicly, talking to you behind the scenes, I never knew you had actually been face to face with a beast like that.
Is that going to change your behavior anyway?
No, not at all.
Another thing I learned, but my ex-father-in-law didn't have to teach me, is you don't want to be, if you're out and there's bears, you don't want to be the fattest guy in the group.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
always bring someone that can run just a little bit slower.
Well, but sometimes though, you've seen this, I'm sure. The fat guys that are deceptively sudden, as folks used to say, real swift, really athletic fat guys. Where you're like, how is he moving that way?
We used to have this guy at Hyundai, David. I won't give his last name, but David, big boy like me, even bigger, and he raced another guy that was really pretty slim guy. They raced on the road right there between the two plants during break. He smoked him. And you wouldn't have thought David was, like you said, fast. He was a big, kind of bulky guy. I've never seen a big guy move like that. And nobody did. A lot of money exchanged.
So what we need is a slow person in the group if we're going to go where bears are.
If not, then no offense, but I'm pushing you down because I got to go.
That's one way to go. No, I'm not even talking about being eaten by a bear. I mean, betrayal.
I wouldn't call it betrayal.
It sounds like that to me.
I'm teaching you a lesson. If you get through that,
no, you're going to be neck deep in ice at the last circle of hell as Satan flaps his leathery wings about, cooling you down.
Ice ain't so
right
bad.
next to Judas
sweater.
and Brutus. All right.
I'm a sweater, so ice won't be that bad.
It's going to be like it hurts me more than it does you.
I'll tell you. Put up a good fight, Joey.
I'm gonna grab you down. We're going together. We're going together. Good to have you two back here in the studio. I would say this part of the program I could guess, but I have not received our log for today for the second day in a row.
Okay.
Actually, could you call LaDonna?
I will do that right now.
Yeah, and get that settled. So how about this? Let's hit a quick break. And, man, these Clark and Electrobama. I'm sorry, I forgot about y'all. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 special. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
So you may ask, who are these people? These hundreds of thousands of people who've decided to do something different with how they pay for health care, and they join MediShare. It's a good question. MediShare members are people who realize they have a choice. They're not stuck with a status quo that they don't like. And we know this from research of MediShare members. They tend to have certain values in common, like their faith. They love that they're actually sharing with one another. They don't have to be part of a system that forces them to pay for things they don't support. They also value joining with other people who prioritize healthier lifestyles and encourage each other. They value customer service that's for them and their families, and they find that refreshing. And they're entrepreneurs, people who work in the gig economy, pastors, school teachers, business people who do clearly value saving money. That's a big part of this, up to $500 a month with MediShare. You too can do something different. You could start saving now. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The premier place the river region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Of course, we all saw the Blackhawk collision. Went viral. They're claiming it was a training flight.
It was a night flight. But there's videos, and I'll send them to you if you want. I saw that on TikTok probably 5 minutes before I saw it on regular news.
Yeah.
But a lot of videos have come out, and I've been through airports too, where you look off to the left, and there'll be other bases nearby. And they're flying, as you're taking off, and they're flying almost same altitude. Now, you're going different directions, but there's several feet, miles, whatever, that you're flying pretty much side by side.
Well, from what I've read, it looked like the plane was on its correct path, and the chopper is what made the mistake. Of course, the blame game has begun.
Of course it's going
politically, because things can't ever just be an accident.
Literally 5 minutes after it came out, I saw some of that stuff. And
right.
It's just amazing that there aren't like sensors located in the actual vehicles, that they had to rely on someone else to tell them how close they are.
Well, when you're landing, a lot of those go off because you're coming down.
Okay.
So but normally, there'll be a collision alarm.
So it's basically like you have a blind spot while you're flying.
Yeah, and they're looking forward and I'm no expert, but it looked like they kind of came up from above or below them.
And I mean, folks are like, well, Trump froze hiring and fired at the top of these agencies and stuff. It's like, it's a shame he couldn't have done it, 2 years ago.
Right. And honestly,
because apparently if you fire some, top bureaucrat, all of a sudden choppers start crashing into airplanes.
Yeah.
Everything bad under the sun will be blamed on downsizing the federal government.
But look,
because we can't have nice things unless overpaid bureaucrats who don't do their job well keep that job.
But those that follow and those that travel, this is not a surprise. Look how many near misses we've had just in the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, day before yesterday, in South Korea, I believe it was, one of their airplanes burned up on the tarmac. Burn up. On the tarmac.
Yeah, it's also just incredibly sad because no survivors, right?
It's what I've read so far, and it looked like the video we all saw.
And a lot of it was the U.S. skating team and the coaches.
And their families.
So how many hours is this ongoing?
How many hours is this ongoing? Yeah. Well, it happened last night, I think.
So at least 12.
39.
Yeah. Army helicopter was on an annual training flight. Man, that's awful. It really is. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Clark. Hey, Clark, how you doing?
Hi, Mr. Clark. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
Let's have a brief conversation on that august body, the U.S. Senate. So, Bob Menendez, been done found guilty. Now he's got 11 years.
Yeah.
He's been sentenced for being guilty of being a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, because I don't think he does anything different than anybody else. He was just impolitic enough to speak out against Democrat administrations twice.
It's kind of like the Blagojevich rule. Like, you can do that, but don't do it so ridiculously and ham-handed. Yeah.
Now, what do you think if he offered to roll and tell what he knew about how other senators were making money for a reduced sentence? Would he be Epstein? Would there be video cameras that went down? Would guards take naps simultaneously? Would something like that happen? Probably not something he wants to do, I guess.
I would guess something like that would happen pretty much immediately.
Yeah. Then we got the Born Alive Protection Act. Did you look at anything on that? Very interesting
I have not,
there.
no.
Oh, well, so if an infant survives a botched abortion, the Born Alive Protection Act would say that you can't go put them in the janitor's closet until they die. That's pretty much what it says.
You have
now.
to give life-saving care.
Yes, yes. And that could not pass the Senate because they did not have enough to override a filibuster. I think we just need to look at who voted where, who was on what, and we will know pro-life versus low-life. Now, let's move on to the advise and consent that we're getting with these various hearings on Trump's nominees. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. And who elected him? We the people. And why did we elect him? Because of who he would pick for cabinet positions and the policies he would have. So advise and consent has turned into bloviate and obstruct. When did that happen? Because that's all we're getting. And it's interesting.
I think that happened many moons ago. I've seen,
at least back when Clarence Thomas.
Right. Yeah, and even further back, I'm sure you could, if we had cameras, maybe even in like the 1890s, there would have been probably a lot of speechifying up there.
So the thing that really fascinates me is when you look at the different dynamics that we're getting with the various hearings. Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, I think primarily they were bloviating for their bases.
Yes.
Pam Bondi, are you just saying that so we'll vote for you? Her immediate response would be, I got 53 votes. I ain't got to say nothing for you to vote for me. I win, you lose. This whole thing's a moot point. Because that would have been the case. Now, with RFK Jr., it changes. Because he might actually, put policies in place that would make people healthier. And healthy people don't make Big Pharma much money. And Big Pharma gives lots of money to politicians. And who can expect the senator to live on a couple $100,000 a year? We pay them.
That's good.
They're working for who really pays them right now.
Right. Yeah, without Big Pharma, they would be paupers. They would have. It's amazing. We got the clips. We'll play them in a second. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren in particular come to mind. And it's like, y'all have always been fake populists.
Yep.
And here you go. You're just another series of puppets for these folks that pay you to be puppets. And it's just remarkable because there's so much rot within so many of our institutions, especially in the, say, massive healthcare complex that emanates from the government and those departments. And it at least needs to be reviewed top to bottom, if not completely overhauled.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time. I'm looking forward to more sunshine.
Me too. We're on the same page there. Appreciate it, Clark.
Take care, sir.
272-9228. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they're ready to help you fellas out. Could be, guys, you just don't feel like you used to. Haunted by past memories of your younger self. You hate that feeling sometimes, Eddie?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we all experience it as we get a little older. And in fact, it's not just guys, say, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who feel like they're losing that edge, that X factor, that mojo. It's also guys in their 20s and 30s who are like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, you're barely even a man. It's like, I can't help it. I don't want to get out of bed. I have no motivation. I have no drive. I have no sex drive to speak of. Well, if you're feeling this way, get by Montgomery Men's Health because the problem very well could be low testosterone. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low-T treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number for Montgomery Men's Health, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to montgomerymenshealth.com to book your appointment today. Got to hit another break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025 we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
Hey, this is Ray Bowles of Prideful Carpet. And since we've been advertising on Blue Water, our sales have increased dramatically. Blue Water has a large listening audience that is very faithful to their advertisers, and we greatly appreciate that. If you're thinking about advertising for your business, I would highly recommend Blue Water.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. The U.S. economy ended 2024 on a solid note with consumer spending driving growth. The Commerce Department reports a GDP expanded at a 2.3% annual rate October through December. Shares of major U.S. airlines have fallen in the wake of the deadly American Airlines crash near Washington, D.C. Shares of American were down 3.8%. Southwest Airlines shares declined 2%. Facebook parent Meta Platforms rose 1.6% after posting sharply higher profits and revenues for its fourth quarter. Tesla jumped 3.2% after CEO Elon Musk told analysts on a conference call that the company is on track to offer unsupervised, full self-driving technology to its customers as a paid service starting in Austin in June. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Winter on hold. Our nice thaw continues as January ends and February begins. Nice day today, sun and cloud mix, comfortable temperatures for the dead of winter with a high around 73. Mostly cloudy, mild tonight, overnight low in the mid-50s. Showers likely, maybe a few thunderstorms tomorrow. A couple of stronger storms not out of the question, high around 71. Then that leads to a nice weekend. Sunshine, 67 on Saturday, more sun, 71 on Sunday, and then up to about 73, a beautiful Monday ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now, all sorts of hearings are ongoing. They're up on Capitol Hill. Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
RFK Jr. a second round. And Kash Patel. And this one clip I have yet to watch, but it's apparently Senator John Kennedy talking to Kash Patel. So I suspect it's going to be fun. Let's listen in together.
If you're not ticking off some people, you're not doing your job right.
My colleague and friend Senator Durbin called you a conspiracy theorist. You remember that?
I do, Senator.
You were instrumental in revealing that the Trump-Russia
election collusion hoax was a hoax, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was the lead investigator.
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Facts.
Well done, sir.
Gotta love Senator John Kennedy. There's all sorts of stuff happening that we'll get to here eventually. Let's go to Electrobama on line 4. Hey, Electrobama, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
And how's Eddie and Byron?
Yep.
Hanging in here like a hair in a biscuit.
Oh, good. I'm gonna start out. Just want to pray because last time I prayed on here, the prayer was answered because I said I'm going to take you off of the car real quick. There you go. Maybe that's better on the phone.
There you go.
Yeah, much better.
Last time I prayed that there would be no one would get outraged, that there wouldn't be any kind of. I wanted a peaceful election, and I got a peaceful election. It's because and everyone needs to look. She lost, Democrats lost, and it was peaceful transfer of power, no problems at all. He lost last time, and there was a riot at the Capitol.
Well, gold star for your side then. You want a cookie too?
Now, I'm just saying, which, you think we might be the baddies? There's that gif with the guy from Hogan's Heroes,
yeah,
the Schultz or something. So I wanted to start out with prayer, just to say, Lord God, please increase truth, justice, and light, and diminish lies and corruption and darkness in Alabama, America, and the world. Please, God. And so we were just talking about Russia. Yeah, he got onto Russia. So it's not inconsistent that people would think that there was collusion, given how much Trump, how many oligarchs, Russian oligarchs, rented from him, and it's just there's a body of evidence
that was
and
not
you can
true.
You can point at specific things. You can say, "Well, this dossier had something wrong about it. I'm not sure exactly what." And say, "Well, dossier that's the whole thing." It's not the whole thing. It's it's a bunch of pile, and it's coming up to this very day, which I'm going to get on, which is Trump has proposed taking Panama Canal and then Greenland. When asked if military action was off the table for those two, he said no. So we've already crossed into another world that we haven't been in for 100 years. A darker world. You can say, well, we've been evil in the past, and I was like, that's not a good argument.
Hold on, how?
Evil is still evil.
How? Please, how?
Okay. You remember this, there was a Bob Woodward book about the Biden administration and vis-a-vis Russia and stuff, and then one of the things, and it just struck me, one of the things that,
Bob Wood?
Secretary of Defense Austin said to his counterpart is, I'm the leader of this such and such force. I don't make threats. So what Donald Trump has done is he has made a threat. No, what I'm saying is,
do you live in a cotton candy house? The United States Defense Department, the United States government doesn't make threats. This is the first time they've ever made threats.
It wasn't a threat. It was a hypothetical, the way that it was framed. I mean,
give me a break, man.
I'm one of the people that don't think that the whole Greenland thing's going to happen, and I even acknowledge that that's
I'm
not a threat.
afraid it might, but it's already broken the trust of the alliance.
Broken the trust of the alliance, because that's what it relies on, all the trust.
Alliance, which we made with Britain at the end of the war. So
well, maybe we need to revisit the terms of the deal. And the idea that the United States president or the United States government doesn't make threats when we've been engaged in covert actions, overthrowing governments, bombing places every frickin' year, it seems like, for decades on end after the end of that war and the so-called peace we've had. Give me a break, man.
We already have total control of Greenland. So I don't know why he's harassing people, terrorizing people, unless he's doing it on behalf of his friend
We
that
have
he won't
total
say anything
control.
bad about.
Wait, so he's harassing Greenland because it helps Russia? Are you high?
He's harassing Denmark. He could. So
And you start this call by defending the Russiagate era, that they essentially framed the incoming president of the United States with treason, using the powers of the national security state to launder information developed by the political opposition. And underlying all that was a Russian source from Russian intelligence, Igor Danchenko, if I could say it that way. You're really defending this still.
Treason, you say? But I don't know if it was treason, but
what would you call an incoming president cooperating, being the stooge of an adversary?
What does Russian propaganda, who's trying to invade its neighbors, do with the fact that we are threatening a friend? I mean, threatening nearby territory, which, in an up.
They
and up
probably
Dutch
don't
world,
like it because it
we
opens up
don't
the
need-
Arctic even more. It's
No.
great power competition is the era we're in.
I still don't understand.
We
how
don't
it's
need a
threat.
great power competition.
Well, I wish every day was Christmas, but it's the world we've shifted into. The end of history didn't happen at the end of the Cold War.
We don't have to go
It's
there.
where
We
the
can have
world's going. What do you
multilateralism
think all this competition to
based
get
on-
stuff into lower orbit is about? What do you think all this competition of the Arctic is about? And this competition over advanced microchips and processors and the compute power that actually puts us together. What do you think it's all about, man?
Well, that would happen under normal competition. We don't need to
Mr. Free
to
Market
have
over here.
disorder and chaos. We can maintain our hegemony. We can maintain the Pax Americana, or we can throw it away. That's our
And
choice.
by just talking nice and having committee meetings and the interagency process and stuff, we really were on that path, right? We've been on that path for the last 20 years under Republicans and Democrats both. We've been really using the power, the unipolar moment well.
I'm not sure. What are we talking about exactly besides Iraq?
I'm talking about the way we've treated, say, these great powers, how they rose up.
Be specific, please. What is the biggest one?
How about you get your ass off the phone and don't call my show ever again? You intoxicated child. If I could be specific, we'll make China rich. We'll make China rich. We'll help China develop economically. And you know what'll happen, gentlemen? They'll stop being communist. And the Chinese will become our friends.
Didn't happen.
We can continue to expand a military alliance closer and closer to the Ruskies. And you don't have to take my word for it. In fact, there are top people, old graybeards, within the Defense Department, within the State Department, old Cold Warriors like George Kennan are saying, bad idea. Don't do this. Almost every time they started expanding NATO, you had people within the U.S. government itself saying, don't do this. The Russians are a little paranoid about the Eastern European plane.
Look, man, I mean, the Chinese relationship with Denmark and activity in Greenland increased tremendously over the past few years. So treating it kind of like a little...
Same with the Panama Canal.
Kind of the little Bay of Pigs scenario there, something that close, no. And that's why it's a hypothetical. Is there ever any situation where there might be boots on the ground? Yeah. But we'll probably be fully engaged in war at that point.
And we've done a wonderful job in the Middle East, and not just Iraq, but, let's just keep pushing Afghanistan. We'll eventually, convert them to Jeffersonian democracy. And, let's do the whole Arab Spring thing. That just happened organically because a fruit monger set himself on fire. No. It's because of, obviously, the State Department and their intelligence carve-outs encouraged all this stuff. What did it get us? It got us the Muslim Brotherhood for a while in Egypt, which were overthrown by a dictator that, yes, we backed. We go from one dictator to the Muslim Brotherhood to another dictator. How's it going in Ukraine? Many, including most prominently John Mearsheimer in 2014, after the government's flipped over, says you're leading them down the primrose path and Ukraine is going to be wrecked. Well, we're sitting here in 2025. How's Ukraine doing right now? No matter what you think is morally right in defending against the Ruskies. We could go down a long list of things on how the power the United States had after the supposed end of history was squandered. Anyway, 272-9228. I appreciate Electro-Bama being so patient to make all those lucid points. This part of the program, I'm a little hungry after all that ranting and raving. Brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market. And you got to get by there to Sweet Creek. See Reed Ingram, especially if you're famished like I am after a rant. Go get you a big, kick butt sandwich. The Cuban's very good. I don't just hear that. I know. I've had it.
You know
it's
for a fact.
very, very, very good. Of course, they have those big old cookies.
Yep.
Can I say something
Cookie.
for this?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard numerous people over the past week say that Sweet Creek has the best Cuban in Montgomery.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm not even making that up.
Right.
Completely separate people.
Yeah, it's not just a rumor. It's just true.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
And, of course, you can get layer caked. I think they have a little personal size
They
ones
do.
even.
And I just checked out. They are restocked with Wagyu. So if you're looking, and you are a Wagyu guy.
I love it.
That's
It's
you.
Andy Tipton's establishment there.
Wagyu of
And
Alabama, I believe.
He does, that meat is so delicious.
Yeah, and that's the only place.
I almost don't want to tell the audience.
That's the only place I know you could get it here locally.
Right.
You would know because that's your fare right there.
Yeah, if you've never had it, folks, it's a unique. The fat tastes slightly different in a good way. It's fantastic premier beef there. Yeah, so you can do your grocery shopping. Get your meat, your butter, your eggs, your milk. You can get sweets. You could get a hot lunch. Maybe you just want to stop by that award-winning cafe, get a nice coffee,
Ooh, that'd be
and then check out the scenery. Let the kids play in the big playground area on a nice warm day. All the chickens running around. It really is a beautiful place. The Ingram family's put together, especially Reed Ingram there. So go find Reed Ingram at Sweet Creek Farm Market. They're just 2 miles south of Taylor Road on Highway 231. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those fellas on the radio, sent you. 30-second break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Is your business feeling the heat of cyber attacks? Tired of worrying about ransomware, data breaches, downtime, and employee mistakes? GTI Managed IT Solutions has been your trusted partner since 1999, safeguarding and supporting businesses like yours from the ever-evolving threats in the digital world. GTI, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 819-4650 or visit gtinow.com.
Headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Joel. Hey, Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We finally cut that idiot off. I was about to cut you off. Have to listen to him.
Well, I'm glad I felt it, Joel. I could feel
Your
not
spidey
just
senses
you,
going
but
off?
all sorts of folks in the truck at the place of work. I'm like, I gotta speak for these people.
Well, I'm gonna say, hey, and the lady that called up last Friday about complaining about folks having to go back to the office to work. She hadn't seen the thing where the guy was in the bubble bath during office hours.
Yeah.
And I would say you probably have 10 to 15% of folks that work from home that will probably put 40 hours a week, but the rest of them probably puts anywhere from 10 to 20 hours a week.
And like I told her, they're offering a very generous severance as much as they can without having to get legislation for Congress. So, I mean,
Would you take it? I'd probably take it if I only had a couple years left too, and I'm anti-Trumper. I'm gone, man. Why not?
Hey, and also when they was hired, they wasn't hired to work from home. They was hired to work from the office.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, y'all have a fantastic day.
You too, Joel. Good to hear from you.
And I'd love to see reports of efficiency as, I'm sure they've got them where the government got things done before we started working from home as opposed to how things are getting done now. And as somebody that occasionally has to use the government, it's slower than ever. You don't believe me? Go get a passport.
Let's be honest. Government employees aren't the most efficient no matter where they are. So
They're humans. They're going to do what
they're
going to do. Honestly, a lot of them are going to do bare minimum.
I'm for whatever we can do to decrease the number. Self.
It's a good 80s song.
Force, whatever.
80s rock, man.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Ray. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Hey, so far so good, guys. I got two things.
All right.
One is the reason why they didn't have all these demonstrators in Washington D.C. after the inauguration is because they even reported it on CNN. The Democratic Party couldn't pay them to come from all over the country and be there. Their money dried up.
That's true.
I don't
believe that. They reported that. Even on CNN, they reported that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Byron here. I think they got plenty of money. They just are like, we're broke. We can't pay for it. We're broke.
After the election, remember they had to lay everybody off and people had to do GoFundMes for, yeah.
That's certain
I don't say they're broke. They just weren't going to pay for that.
And then today they're like blaming Joe Rogan.
Oh, is that right? It's Rogan's fault again?
And the second thing is all of the military personnel that were forced out due to not taking the vax, they should draw back pay up until their end of obligated service. If they don't go back, they should draw money till the end of their obligated service or to the end of their enlistment that they were on.
Yeah.
That would be, for somebody who just enlisted, that would be 6 years.
Yeah.
Somebody who were forced out, who was getting ready to retire, they should pay them up to their retirement.
Eddie's Eddie's making faces over here. I think you're making points.
I think it's worth looking into. I just can't blanketly say, yeah, let's do that. But I do, because so many soldiers were done so wrong.
True.
There's no doubt about it. But that is one I'd like to look into.
I don't think you can pay people for work they didn't do. They should be compensated accordingly for everything that they did do.
Exactly. That's why I say to their obligated service.
But if you moved me to North Dakota and then kicked me out of the military, and I'm stuck in frickin' North Dakota, then I feel like you guys might have owed me a little.
Why are you stuck in North Dakota? You got 2 feet.
You ship me to North Dakota. If I walk out of North Dakota, I'll freeze to death unless I wait for summer.
Well, you shouldn't have weed in that guy's tea.
Well, you're
going to get deployments like that.
He's going to have a bearskin rug on when he leaves, so it'll be right.
Right.
Oh, I would.
No, I think it's actually, you raise a good point there, Ray.
But that was it, and the VA was the same way. You couldn't go into the VA if you weren't vaxxed. Right. You had to wear a mask and vax.
Yeah, it would be good to make some folks whole, especially during that whole COVID regime. Well, I got it at my top of the hour break. Appreciate it, Ray. Thanks for calling, man.
Thanks, Ray.
I appreciate it.
272-9228. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. All 64 people aboard an American Airlines jet that collided with an Army helicopter are feared dead. The helicopter apparently flew into the path of the jet late Wednesday as it was landing at Ronald Reagan National Airport near Washington. The American economy ended 2024 on a solid note. Consumer spending continuing to drive growth. The Commerce Department reported the gross domestic product expanded at a 2.3% annual rate from October through December. And the average rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. eased for the second week in a row, but remains just below 7%. The rate fell to 6.95% from 6.96% last week, according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. The Dow had 216 points, the NASDAQ 14 in the red. This is SRN News.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Making America Great Again starts with making America healthy again. I lost 40 pounds with the PhD weight loss and nutrition program, and 2 years later I haven't gained a pound back. I started the PhD weight loss and nutrition program because I needed to be healthy to keep up with my crazy schedule. Most people start a weight loss program to get healthier. So why is Big Pharma spending millions to convince you to use their weight loss injections that do just the opposite? Do your homework. Weight loss injections have harmful side effects and lifelong dependency. Take a natural approach that isn't connected to Big Pharma's bottom line. PhD changes the way you think about food. You'll learn to quiet cravings and finally release the unhealthy belly fat. PhD Weight Loss is leading the charge to make America healthy again. Text the word healthy to 717767 or visit myphdweightloss.com. That's the word healthy to 717767. It's worked for me. It'll work for you. 717767. Text the word.
It's Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway, where right now you can get 1,050 square feet of carpet installed for $19.95 only at H&H Carpets in Montgomery.
Winter on hold. Our nice thaw continues as January ends and February begins. Nice day today, sun and cloud mix, comfortable temperatures for the dead of winter with a high around 73. Mostly cloudy, mild tonight, overnight low in the mid-50s. Showers likely, maybe a few thunderstorms tomorrow. A couple of stronger storms not out of the question, high around 71. Then that leads to a nice weekend. Sunshine, 67 on Saturday, more sun, 71 on Sunday, and then up to about 73, a beautiful Monday ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply for your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. An ordinance to increase salaries for all Millbrook council members, the council president and Mayor Al Kelly, has failed to pass. The proposal would have raised the salary of each council member to $1,200 per month and $2,100 for the mayor. Millbrook council members have not received a pay increase for 27 years. A young boy was seriously injured in a Wednesday morning shooting in Montgomery. Police responded to the 3200 block of Raintree Drive off Virginia Loop Road around 12:30 a.m., where a juvenile male with a gunshot wound was transported to a local hospital in critical condition. The boy's exact age was not released. Alabama lawmakers will return to the State House for the 2025 legislative session on Tuesday, February 4th. House Democrats and Republicans have laid out their agendas ahead of the session, which share some priority similarities. Both parties are looking to address public safety after gun violence plagued the state in 2024. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time, experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. DavisDoorandSashAlabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. You can always watch online. You can comment online, especially on YouTube and on X. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. We do have plenty of clips to get to. I believe it's Jeff Dice joining us a little after 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Look forward to reconnecting there with Mr. Dice. So I don't even know where to begin, gentlemen, because there are so many different angles to all this. I mean, we could do Bernie Sanders from yesterday, as well as Elizabeth Warren freaking out. RFK Jr., we've got Tulsi Gabbard's opening statement, which I'm told is straight fire.
It was really good.
Really good?
It was really good. It's not something I intended watching. I just happened to walk in the room as she started, and I sat my butt down and listened to every minute she said.
I'm trying to think. What
Tulsi.
And it had nothing to do with
Tulsi? You want to start with Tulsi?
It had nothing to do with that lightning stripe in her hair. I swear.
She's looking good, man. I'm not afraid to say it. I know she's married, happily married. She's like, but I have eyes.
She's an attractive woman. I give you that.
Look at that fierce look. Let me pull this up on the fierce.
I hope the Dalmatian's okay.
So I've often thought that. But I just like her too much. But I've thought the same thing.
I'm going to get
if
you
she
puppy.
comes in with a coat, I swear.
Take me instead. Take me instead.
Corella DeVille.
Yep.
But, I mean, she's striking. Like, if I'm trying to put on a media presentation, number one, that's a striking image.
Yep.
Like, because the white is really bright and it sort of just frames her face perfectly. So, and this is like really good, you said, Eddie.
I thought it was, yeah.
Okay, we might as well listen together. Let's do it.
I'm honored and grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you."
True.
For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran. Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence.
Yep.
Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight.
Correct.
Lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible.
Got to pause it there because it took Dianne Feinstein, when she still had her wits about her, to go to the Senate floor and say they're doing this.
Yeah.
Pretty insane stuff. And that that opening chapter, if we had a real country and a real, say, legacy media networks, they'd play this frickin' speech at nightly news. But we don't have it right now with our centers of power yet. But plenty of people are seeing it on Elon Musk's X and many other places. So let's keep going with Tulsi. She's laying it out beautifully, bringing up the Russiagate thing, bringing up the Edward Snowden stuff and the abuses that Snowden revealed. bringing up how it was done to Democrats and Republicans. So much so that Dianne Feinstein had to jump on the Senate floor and be like, hey, John Brennan, why are you spying on us? Let's keep listening into Tulsi.
Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end. President Trump's reelection is a clear mandate from the American people to break this cycle of failure, end the weaponization and politicization of the intelligence community, and begin to restore trust in those who've been charged with the critical task of securing our nation. If confirmed as DNI, I will do my very best to fulfill this mandate and bring leadership to the intelligence community with a laser-like focus on our essential mission, ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As the President's principal intelligence advisor, I'll begin by leading by example, checking my own personal views at the door, and committing to delivering intelligence that is collected, analyzed, and reported without bias, prejudice, or political influence. I enlisted in the Army because of the horrific terrorist attack on September 11th and volunteered to deploy to Iraq in 2005, where I served in a medical unit. After nearly 22 years in uniform with 3 combat deployments to the Middle East and Africa, I'm now a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, where I serve as a battalion commander of soldiers in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. I served in Congress for 8 years on the Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs, and Armed Services committees. And it's my experience in the military and in the halls of Congress that have given me a deep understanding of the complex challenges that our nation faces, in both roles engaging with world leaders, in both roles being privy to highly classified intelligence. So I know firsthand how essential accurate, unbiased, and timely intelligence is to the President, to Congress, and to our warfighters. I also know the heavy cost of intelligence failures and abuses. Senator Collins, you led the creation of ODNI specifically to address those intelligence failures of 9/11 and Iraq's so-called WMDs. The need for the ODNI under strong leadership still exists today. If confirmed, I'll bring my experience and fresh eyes to leading the intelligence community. And my day one priorities will be to assess the global threat environment, identify where gaps in our intelligence exist, integrate intelligence elements, increase information sharing, and ensure that unbiased, apolitical, objective collection and analysis to support the President and policymakers' decision-making occur.
This is amazing.
I'll work to end the politicization of the intelligence community and ensure there is a clear mission focus in the IC on its core mission of this unbiased, apolitical collection and analysis of intelligence to secure our nation. I'll work to rebuild trust through transparency and accountability. This is a national security imperative. And I'll work to assess and address efficiencies, redundancies, and effectiveness across ODNI to ensure focus of personnel and resources is on our core mission of national security. Now, in my meetings that I've had with many of you, you expressed bipartisan frustration about recent intelligence failures, as well as the lack of responsiveness to your requests for information. Whether it's the surprise October 7th Hamas terrorist attack, to the sudden takeover of Syria by Islamist extremists, failures to identify the source of COVID, anomalous health incidents, UAPs, drones, and more. If confirmed, I look forward to working with you to address these issues.
Pausing it right there, just a programming update, especially if y'all are just watching online for the first time. We will have UAP expert Luis Elizondo back on the show. It was supposed to be Monday, but he had an emergency meeting he needs to have with certain senators.
Okay.
So it will be on Tuesday.
Excellent.
From 1 to 3. And
excellent, man.
For some senators?
Well, I know. I mean, it happens.
Okay.
It happened. And seriously, if Tuberville and Brett want to sit here and I'll bump y'all, I hope you bump me for them.
I got a feeling she'd want me there.
Oh, is this like the bear thing again?
No, I'm just telling you. I just know her well enough.
We're both going down if that ever happens. I'm not letting you
better
run
hit
off.
me in the knees quick, buddy.
I know. I know. Seen them chicken legs. I know how to attack them chicken legs.
Okay.
Anyway, I love that she's going to cooperate on so much of this stuff. And again, I love her giving her CV real quick, her background, because the way she has been smeared in the press for so long, as soon as she got on the wrong side of Hillary Clinton, it really started.
And she put it out there. The day that she said something about Vice President
Harris.
is the day that she suddenly got put on a no-fly list.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? An active duty officer in the military is going on a no-fly list.
And I just love at the end of the day, Donald Trump was like, well, how about you should be in charge of all this.
I love that.
Oh, it's so good. Let's keep going.
Ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people is a mandate of leadership that rises above partisan politics. I've confirmed my commitment to the president, to you, and to the American people is this. I will do my very best to find the truth, no matter where it leads, and share that truth with President Trump, his advisors, and you in Congress, providing you with that unbiased, timely, and accurate intelligence as you make the tough decisions that'll impact the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. Now, before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home. You may hear lies and smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country. Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States, accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters. The same tactic was used against President Trump and failed. The American people elected President Trump with a decisive victory and mandate for change. The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
Damn.
I have no love for Assad or Gaddafi or any dictator. I just hate Al-Qaeda. I hate that we have leaders who cozy up to Islamist extremists, minimizing them to so-called rebels. As Jake Sullivan said to Hillary Clinton, quote, Al-Qaeda is on our side in Syria. Well, Syria is now controlled by an Al-Qaeda offshoot, HTS, led by an Islamist jihadist who danced in the streets on 9/11 and who was responsible for the killing of many American service members. Democrat senators in the past resorted to anti-Christian bigotry against some of President Trump's judicial nominees like Amy Coney Barrett and Brian Boucher. I condemn those actions as a Democrat in Congress at the time, as religious bigotry must be thoroughly condemned by all of us, no matter the religion. Unfortunately, there are some Democrat senators who still don't understand the principle of freedom of religion and Article 6 of the Constitution. Quote, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Unfortunately, they're once again using the religious bigotry card, but this time trying to foment religious bigotry against Hindus and Hinduism. If anyone is sincerely interested in knowing more about my own personal spiritual path of Hinduism, I welcome you to go to my account on X, where I'll share more on this topic.
Man, what an opening statement. like that's...
She's buttoned up, man.
She's laying it down.
Yeah.
And of course, like, the hearing's been ongoing in the morning, and we can search far and wide for more clips and exchange between senators, especially the hostile ones. But I find I was very impressed by that. Very impressed indeed.
Now you see why it got my attention. I mean, I was literally on the other side of the house and was walking through just doing some work and saw her talking and gave her a couple seconds, and it grabbed me. And I sat my butt down, rewound it to when she started, and watched the whole thing.
That one line in particular, I've been called a puppet of this, a puppet of that,
Yes.
a puppet of that. No, the reason they're saying this is because I won't be their puppets.
Yep.
I think that's exactly right. And in fact, she's told in long-form interviews and podcasts that she was being groomed early on. I mean, look at her. She's good-looking. She's very smart, well-spoken,
Checks
an
all the
incredible
boxes there.
track record and resume. And when she made it very clear to them, no, I'm going to do what I believe is right, not just do whatever the party says. What was the line? Be a good Democrat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's when
Democrat. Right.
she was sort of jettisoned. And then when she ran for office and really embarrassed Kamala Harris and got on the wrong side of Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
Yeah, folks are like, okay, we got to throw the book at her. Let's get the smear campaigns going.
Exactly.
She represents more of the hot take. She represents more of a threat to the Democrats than Trump.
Oh, certainly.
I agree.
I agree with that 100%.
Let's. This is Troy.
Yes, our buddy Troy.
Hey, Troy Carrico on the line. Hey, Troy.
I can't get away from you guys apparently, but I was hope y'all doing all right today, listening to your take on it. And here's something very interesting to watch as this develops. Should she get, and I think she will get confirmed, but should she? Here's what you need to know about the ODNI. The ODNI has very little power. The way that it's constructed with the bureaucrats set at each of the agencies. So with Trump's emphasis on cleaning up those agencies and the top-heavy SESs and GSs that are out there, she may be able to take that position and put it where it really needs to be, a centralized reporter of an overseer of those agencies. The way it's set now, it's gonna require all of her cunning and all of her ability. But I believe with the way that DOGE is in place, the way that Trump's emphasis is on these things, she may be able to do something very, very special with ODNI.
And
that's really all I wanted to share.
I really appreciate it. And I think Trump wanted somebody who can be in the room day to day, who he trusts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll probably have multiple people briefing him on intelligence, but he wants Tulsi there because he knows he can trust her because she's been on the wrong side of some of these actors.
You got it, man. That's it. That's how I'm going to get up there. I just wanted to share with you that ODNI has always been relegated to just kind of a figurehead up to that point because of the powers that are in these old agencies' heads. And so now it's a new dawn. Hey, it's a new dawn. Daddy's home. Things are changing, and we'll see what happens. All right.
Appreciate it, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. See you, man.
See you next week.
I'll see you guys Tuesday. All right,
Looking forward to it.
All right.
So
Did he say he's going to see us next Tuesday? And he corrected himself.
On the TikTok, we've been saying Daddy's home, and that's been a big thing for a while. I started hearing Pappy's home.
Pappy?
Pappy. Yes. Folks south of the border referring to him as Pappy.
Oh, my.
And Pappy's home.
Pappy?
Yeah.
He's got that machismo.
Also referred to him as it's a Spanish word, and I can't think of it, but it translates to the dog that bites.
Oh. They
They referred to one particular leader as a chihuahua, but Trump is the dog that bites.
Does your dog bite?
One of my favorite parts of that movie.
That is not my dog.
That is not my dog.
Mm-hmm. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing, and they're at Cole Plumbing. James and the team are ready to help you out with any and all of your plumbing needs.
Mm-hmm.
Could be you have a burst pipe.
Could be.
A lot of folks might have gone through that with the cold snap, too.
Yeah, man.
And I think there's more cold coming.
That's what I've heard. It's spring and beautiful now, but I did hear we're still in the middle of winter.
So if you want a plumbing company on speed dial, I'll say 279-8919. That's 279-8919. I'm going to say it again a little later. Save that in your phone.
Right.
That way, when you have an issue, you don't have to look it up, go on the internet real quick. You don't, it's just, it's already in my contacts. A Joey Clark fella told me to put Cole Plumbing in my contacts.
Smart move.
And they can help you with those emergency jobs, burst pipes inside or outside your home, and they can do the job without making a big old mess, tearing out a bunch of drywall, or digging up a huge hole in your yard. They can do it with precision and expertise. But then maybe it's not an emergency. Maybe you're doing all right. Maybe you want to upgrade to nicer things.
Yeah.
Like a tankless water heater system.
Maybe a taller toilet.
Yeah, new accessories galore in the bathroom or the kitchen. And it could be you've got a clogged drain, low water pressure, basic plumbing problems. They can solve those things too. Maybe the toilet's not working. You're like, what the heck is going on with this?
No good.
So again, save Cole Plumbing in your phone. That number, 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
call on Cole, Joey.
Now, here's another clip I have not had the chance to watch.
Okay.
But this is the second day of the RFK Jr. hearings.
Yeah.
And there's one guy on the X, Gunther Eagleman.
How's Gunther doing?
That's a great name.
That is a really good one.
Gunther
That's a
Eagleman.
name right there.
It's almost German. He says this is a must-watch. Rand Paul just went off in all caps at RFK Jr.'s hearing. So I'm kind of like, I got
on to that.
Let's do this thing right here. Take it away, Senator Paul.
Over vaccines is so oversimplified and dumbed down that we never really get to real truths. And it's why people up here are so separated from real people at home. So we talk about hepatitis B. It's a terrible disease. It could lead to liver failure, as the chairman said. But the reason you have distrust from people at home, why they don't believe anything you say, and they don't believe government at all, is you're telling my kid to take a hepatitis B vaccine when he's 1 day old. You get it through drug use and sexually transmitted. That's how you get hepatitis B. But you're telling me my kid has to take it at 1 day old. That's not science. And so every person with a bit of common sense, even people who don't resist vaccines, I vaccinated all my kids. I believe vaccines are one of the modern miracles beyond all pale. The Speckled Monster is a great book about the introduction of the smallpox vaccine in 1720 into our country. All miracles. But I'm not a one-size-fits-all. It's not all or nothing. I chose to wait on my hepatitis B vaccine, and we did it when they went to school. Does that make me an awful person? Does that make me an anti-vaxxer because I questioned the government dictate of whether I do it? And I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm only speaking for myself. But for goodness sakes, let's have an honest debate about these things. The COVID vaccine. If you ask me my opinion, the reporters run up and down the hall and they say, you still anti-vaccine? No, I'm pro-vaccine. But on the COVID vaccine, and on the COVID illness, there was a 1,000-fold or more difference between the elderly and children. If you don't acknowledge that, you're committing malpractice. You're showing your ignorance. If you say a 6-month-old must be mandated to get it, the science is not there. So all this blather about the science says this and the science says that, no, it doesn't. The science actually shows that no healthy child in America died from COVID. Look it up. No healthy child died from COVID. And so the thing is that it's 1,000-fold greater. So if you ask me my advice as a physician, if you were 65 or older or overweight and some other conditions, I would have said, hell yes, I'd take the COVID vaccine. The risks of the disease were real and much greater than the vaccine. But if you ask me, should my healthy 6-month-old get it? See, these are the nuances you're unwilling to talk about because there's such a belief in submission. Submit to the government. Do what you're told. There is no discussion. There ought to be a debate. You're not going to let him have the debate because you're just going to criticize and say, it is this and admit to it or we're not going to appoint you. But it's more complicated than that. And this is why people distrust government because you're unwilling to have these conversations. And go home. Ask your Democrat young mothers, your Republican young mothers, if they're vaccinating their kid for hepatitis B and they're like, well, do I have to do it on day one? It's this precious little baby. Is there science to say you shouldn't do it? Probably not, but it's my kid. You know, it's like, there isn't clear-cut science saying not to. But on autism, there's no good science of anything to show what causes autism. We don't know. It's a profound disease. I know many moms here and dads who have kids with autism. I know them personally. I've met their kids. But the thing is they saw their kids developing completely normal, maybe speaking 100 words go to no words at about 15 months of age. Now, there isn't proof. There isn't proof that the vaccines cause it. That's true. There isn't proof that it causes it. But we don't know what causes it yet, so shouldn't we be at least open-minded? We take 72 vaccines. Could it be? I don't know. But we shouldn't just close the door and say we're no longer, because we believe so much in submission, we're not going to have an open mind to study these things. And so it's sort of this crazy notion. Schizophrenia, I would put in the same notion. You have a kid who's completely normal to 18 or 19, and their brain goes haywire. How does that happen? It's the most bizarre disease. Shouldn't we be open? Could it be our food? It might be vaccines. It might be our food, but autism's more common. I don't know about the schizophrenia statistics, but autism's more common. Shouldn't we want to be open-minded? Instead, we're so close-minded and we're so consensus-driven that the science says this. Well, science doesn't say anything. Science is a dispute, and 10 years from now, we could all be wrong. We were told in the beginning, 20 years ago, they did this enormous study, and they said, everybody over 50 should take an aspirin. I thought, well, that's a pretty good idea. It makes sense. But you know what? 20 years later, they measured it, and they found if you had no heart disease and you were taking aspirin, your chance of dying from a brain bleed or from a stomach bleed were greater than the risk of heart disease. If you have heart disease, they still say take an aspirin. If you don't, they've changed their mind 20 years later. But would you have all said I was crazy and I should no longer be in public discourse if I had said 20 years ago, I don't feel like taking an aspirin. I ride my bike all the time. I'm afraid I might hit my head. But That's what a country's about. It's what dissent is about. So just ask you to look at the larger picture and give the guy a break who says, I just want to follow the science where it leads without presupposition. I think really what we have up here is presupposition. You've already concluded. It's absolute that autism isn't caused by it. We don't know what causes autism, so we should be more humble in what we say. Sorry I didn't get to a question.
Man,
great statement.
For the record, if a child is born to a hepatitis B mother, that child may have a 95% chance of becoming a chronic carrier. But if the
And we
child-
vaccinate those people, and nobody's against that.
But if the child-
that's a very small percentage
If
and
I
a
may
red herring.
finish.
That is not what we're talking about. 99.9% of kids don't have a hepatitis B, Mom. And could they wait a while? Could they get vaccinated 3 months or a year? Yes.
So again, for the record, if the mother's hepatitis B status is known, then that can be delayed. The problem is oftentimes, or at least a significant percentage of the time, the mother's status is not known. If she's hepatitis B positive, a vaccine on day one of life prevents chronic hepatitis B 95% of the time. So it really depends upon the knowledge of the mother's hepatitis B status. And when they used to do just, okay, we know the mother's status or not, there was mothers that snuck through. Their status was unknown. We can blame the OBs, yeah, Marshall. But for the record, there is an absolute rationale for that. But you're right. If the mother's status is definitively known, that it can be safely delayed.
Goodness gracious. Why do all those rules have to be made from the top down?
Thank you.
Good God, man. Thank you, Senator Paul, for that rant.
The only thing that'll ever change rules like that if people stop going to hospitals and start having births in homes. And then they'll say, why is the birth rate so low? Well, the birth rate's so low because people quit trusting hospitals and they started having births at home. And with that being done, not really many doctors hanging out in the house waiting for you to have a baby.
We got to hit a break here in a second. This part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, they are a full-service jewelry shop ready to help you out in any way. And by full service, I mean they do things like appraisals. They do things like repairs, spa treatments. Could be you want to get some custom design work done. Or it could be you just want to shop that amazing inventory they have there at Dillon Rings. And I'm looking at their Instagram page today.
Yeah.
And they write, in 2007, Todd Page registered today, January 30th, as National Draw a Dinosaur Day.
Oh, is that right?
And popularized it through social media. Since then, folks across the U.S. and Canada, is that a real country?
Yes, it is.
Draw a dinosaur today and share their creations over social media. You could let Dillon Rings turn your dino drawing into jewelry. What can we make for you? They're asking. And I'm seeing just that.
See the dino?
Yeah, it's like
Pretty cool.
Tyrannosaurus Rex with the little arms
Got
and
the little
all this
T-Rex
stuff.
arms.
And that's just one example of the great custom work Josh Ryder can do over there. So get by Dillon Rings today. Say hi to Josh and Leslie. They're both wonderful folks. 119 Brown Springs Road, just off of Atlanta Highway, kind of on the backside of AUM before you get to Taylor Road. I tend to remember it. It's where the old Fun Zone place used to be, right there on that little strip center. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Before I hit this break, did you hear what Councilman Szymanski brought up yesterday?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, so we talked about the mayor's speech and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There are some good things happening in Montgomery. Great. Then we get into a conversation about how the city council didn't actually adjourn Tuesday night. They just went into recess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're going to come back, I believe, Friday. Maybe they'll figure it out today or something, but Friday's the plan that I last heard. And it's because somebody said Jackson Hospital, who we all know is in deep trouble financially from mismanagement or whatever it is.
Just witnessed it, man.
They said, we have like 5 days and we need a guarantor for a bond or we're just going to have to close. And we would like the city to be the $20 million guarantor of the bond.
The city?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Didn't we just deny another emergency room from opening up or hospital from opening up here because we didn't have a need for that?
Oh, the certificate of need board?
Yeah.
No, and I'm like, how can you not? Why drop it in their lap all of a sudden, number one? Like this idea of like, oh, we got like 5 days, guys. Yes or no?
Haven't they already been bailed out? I believe Katie Britt's place cut them a check for $5 million a while back. So I hate it. I'm going to be enemy number one, but I'm over too big to fail. I'm over it.
Well, and also, you have other healthcare systems in the state, and is there not some deal to be made where Baptist is brought into the fold? And they have a facility that can help serve, because 40% of the patients being seen at Jackson, learned this yesterday, are not from Montgomery.
No, they're from Prattville,
Right.
Wetumpka, surrounding areas. And why did we close hospitals down? We didn't have one in Wetumpka.
Right.
But why did we close them down? This is all their own making.
And it's just one example here locally of what I think Bobby Kennedy was getting at and many others are getting at with the problems nationally. Szymanski, because his parent, he grew up in Massachusetts and they're in that industry. So they're having the same issues there with much bigger dollar figures.
So look at the management boards of these places. And if you can't get it done, then you're fired.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You're fired.
I don't understand. Like when you got regional, little small rural hospitals closing down and the influx of demand on these, places like this, how can you just not make that work just on sheer volume?
Right, just from a business perspective, I've got clients that are flying into here, but somehow I can't make $1.
Well, you got to
then
wonder
I need
how
to
many,
get the hell out of that business.
How many folks are paying?
Well,
how much is the insurance company paying?
Okay, so did somebody do some terrible negotiating? Get them out of there. You're fired.
Right. Well, the old CEO, CFO, all that whole management team's gone. But it's this new company who's like, well, we need this bond so we can go through Chapter 11 and restructure, and maybe it'll work, or then maybe somebody will be more attractive to buy.
If I came to you tomorrow and said, Joey, I need $1 million or I'm going to lose my house, you would say, Eddie, I'm sorry you're going to lose your house. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not only do I not have $1 million, but you're not going to hold me hostage for
That's
that.
exactly that. When I heard that short deadline, like emergency, that sort of behavior should not be rewarded.
It's not. That is negotiating in bad faith. And as a realtor, unfortunately, I see that very often.
Seems like they're kind of trying to create a little leverage there.
Yeah.
That
That's why you pull the whole Donald Trump. I hate it for you.
Yeah, and I had folks that I know who work, say, in the hospital industry who got wind of this, and maybe we're even a little ahead of it. And they're like, yeah, there are solutions to this that isn't the way this was presented.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and detail out because, honestly, I'm not the person actually working in
But
that
just
industry.
think of it from a business point of view, man. Okay, and you do have people that can't pay. But how much of that is an individual that can't pay, or how much are we looking to Medicare to pay? What are the reimbursements on that? If you got that much volume of business and you can't make money, then you need to look at your business structure, or you just do it for free from here on out.
Right. Or if the city does have to jump in, or the state or the county too. Apparently, the state and county have been like, oh, what, huh?
But they'll throw money at anything. Look at that damn water.
No, you're going to make an agreement with Baptist, but the current thing going on there is just. Anyway, we'll see what the city council decides. It was kind of dropped in their lap. Goodness gracious.
Beyond ridiculous.
We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the health care of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Honey?
Yeah?
Do you think it's safe using all these extension cords?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Actually, too many extension cords can be dangerous. Call Crosby Electric to add new outlets.
Sure is dark in our yard.
Good. We'll sleep better.
Maybe you will.
Crosby Electric does landscaping lighting for beauty and safety, as well as security lighting for peace of mind.
Oh, darn. The vacuum cleaner just tripped a breaker.
Honey, never vacuum while I'm making popcorn.
Tripping breakers can indicate a potential fire hazard. You really should have it checked out by Crosby Electric, serving the river region for almost 50 years.
Sweetheart, are you ever afraid that lightning could damage our electrical system?
Afraid? Come on. No. Maybe we should call Crosby. Just give him a call.
Full house surge protection can protect you and your possessions. For an assessment and for all your electrical needs, call Crosby Electric 272-2085 or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Clark Heating, Air and Plumbing. Winter is officially here and it's cold. Make sure your system is ready for the winter. Call today about the advantages of the Clark Club membership to be sure you're covered. Call 277-2125 or go to clarkcomfort.com. Better call Clark. Alabama certification number 09098.
Winter on hold. Our nice thaw continues as January ends and February begins. Nice day today, sun and cloud mix, comfortable temperatures for the dead of winter with a high around 73. Mostly cloudy, mild tonight, overnight low in the mid-50s. Showers likely, maybe a few thunderstorms tomorrow. A couple of stronger storms not out of the question, high around 71. Then that leads to a nice weekend. Sunshine, 67 on Saturday, more sun, 71 on Sunday, and then up to about 73, a beautiful Monday ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. 334-272-9228. If you want to get on the conversation, that's 272-9228. Real quick, I have to share this little headline here, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
This is from AP. You know, the Associated Press. Y'all know who that is, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's like, it used to be what the AP, like, news ticker. Like, it's so many... And so many local stories are often just AP stories, right? Like, that's how it's actually worked for way too long. Well, here's the headline from AP. Vance, talking about Vice President J.D. Vance, has a nice ring to it, doesn't it, still?
Mm-hmm.
It has such a good ring to it. But apparently, Vance suggests some reporters covering the Trump White House are biased. That's, again, the AP headline. Vance suggests some reporters
Did he give any
covering
examples?
the Trump White House are biased.
Did he give any examples, Joey?
Should I even read this story?
Oh, please do go on. I feel like this gets rich.
Vice President J.D. Vance is suggesting that some reporters covering the Trump White House are biased, perhaps even Democratic propagandists. And the new administration will keep a close eye on those asking questions at press briefings.
Oh.
I actually think that we are looking very serious about which reporters show up, because if you're a reporter, even if you're biased towards the left, absolutely we want to answer your questions, Vance told Sean Hannity. If you're a propagandist for the Democratic Party, then we're going to treat you like a propagandist for the Democratic Party, the Republican vice president said, without elaborating. God, this folks. Like that is so juicy. How are you seriously writing this story? That's hilarious, AP.
I really wish that they would take all these identified stooges and put them in the first 2 rows.
Oh, yeah.
And just take them to school every day, man.
And did y'all hear about the new media seat? I know you did.
Yeah.
You're like, road trip, baby.
baby.
I don't think we'd play well up there.
Hence us going. Hello. We can go viral very quickly.
We don't fit in everywhere. Some places no. Okay.
Some of us are like chameleons, and we can. Others of us, not so much.
Stick out a little bit.
You talking about
like
me?
a turd in a punch bowl.
No, I'm fine.
You'd wear that hat?
Yeah.
Right. There we go.
No, I'm saying
I'm fitting in.
I know. No. You're making the mistake of trying to fit in. How about you just be yourself and have your own sense of, style?
I do.
You want the lemon tuna fish?
I'm very anonymous.
Yeah. Right. Oh, this is so good. And of course, there's another thing that's driving folks crazy from that J.D. Vance interview with my adopted godfather, Sean Hannity. I don't know why I did that, but he seemed lonely. Not so much anymore.
I hear him and
Ainsley
Smith are very good friends. Stephen Smith. I didn't know that about your...
Oh, Stephen A?
Yeah, I did not know that about them.
Yeah, he kept that from me, too.
I didn't know
Okay,
that.
I don't feel so bad.
So much for the adopting part of this thing. I'm your adopted godson, Sean.
I thought so.
Anyway, here is J.D. Vance.
Okay.
Laying out a Christian concept, he thinks. I think it's a Christian concept, and it has people up in arms. Let's listen in.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership. And President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first. In the same way that the British Prime Minister should care about Brits and the French should care about the French, we have an American president who cares primarily about Americans, and that's a very welcome change.
Seems like just common sense.
It does, but look at, and it's happened right now in England, and it was happening here. Look what happens when they install a president that doesn't put their people first. Get invaded.
I mean, to me, this is just another illustration of how the Dems, the farther the problem is away from them, the more they can care about it. Whenever they actually have to, get their hands dirty and actually help and do some work.
And I want to clarify here the way I think this is not the average voter, because I think the average voter votes Democrat, Republican, often do care about the thing right in front of them, and they're hoping, oh, if I vote for this team, that thing will get solved. Like, okay, maybe. It might. But the sort of ruling class folks, the elite folks, the managerial class folks, yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. The farther away, like it's sort of this globe-trotting, unbridled cosmopolitanism that's
feigned outrage, man. Just
right. And also it doesn't, how much you actually solve it. That's the thing. Like you look at these like UN goals, it's like that's not a priority list or a goal. That's like a wish list of grab bag put together by a committee of a bunch of folks who don't really like each other, who, well, are just kind of there to be there. And it's like, look, if we didn't have this forum, then we'd all be killing each other, right?
We'd all be unemployed, actually having to do real work.
Though the beginning of this kind of reminds me of somebody else other than J.D. Vance. Let me hear it again.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world.
I think he's cribbing Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's a Christian idea, I believe you love your family, and I mean, if you could be your best self and you ripple that out to your family and your community and the citizen, and I mean, who knows what's possible? Christ is king.
We're about to fight, man.
What?
We're about to fight.
What? I love Jordan
Okay,
Peterson.
just making sure.
I'd do that to his face and say, I love you, man.
Good guy.
He would hug you for it.
Yeah.
But that sense what you're saying, like with Democrats, that, and I think you guys probably heard it this week, the $50 million condom program to Gaza.
Mhm.
You think that was a Republican idea?
No.
Do you think?
And by the way, you know those were not being used for stupping.
Right.
They were being used as like IED balloon bombs.
There you go.
Blow up a bunch of condoms, put a little string.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, that and shipping heroin back.
well, there's that too.
Right.
Mm.
So, and I don't know if it was Doge. I don't know who caught this, but when I see
Doge,
stuff
yeah.
like this, yeah, I got nothing for anybody that goes, oh, we should feel sorry for. No. Feeling sorry for people, guys, this kind of crap. I don't mind helping somebody out, but I don't want to get screwed over like we have been constantly and continue to be.
Well, and already Doge is claiming, they came out with this yesterday, that they're saving the federal government approximately $1 billion a day. And their target is to get up to $3 billion a day.
When I see that debt clock slow down just a hair, I feel like they made a dent.
Hey, I'm just proud of them for actually putting a number of how much savings they actually, project.
Oh, I love it. They're doing it. I love the fact that they're doing it because, we all know there's so much government waste. I mean, this is just low hanging fruit they're looking at. God forbid, open a book or two.
Have they already issued a report?
Well, they said they got to that billion a day by stopping the hiring of people into unnecessary positions, deletion of DEI, and stopping improper payments to foreign organizations. They also reported that the General Services Administration, the GSA, has terminated 3 leases of mostly empty office space, with tenants relocating to nearby buildings at the GSA portfolio.
I'd love to know who had those leases.
Oh, I know.
I'd love to know who put the $50 million condom deal out there because there might have been $5 worth of condoms going over and the rest going in somebody's pocket.
Well, there was a pretty large condom maker down in the Wiregrass, so let's not go sniffing too hard now.
Well, I mean, I'm all about Alabama businesses making some money, but not
And
like that.
I mean, no matter where you are, you should be sniffing those things anyway.
Well, sometimes I'm told they're made to sniff.
This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim and Madeline. That's Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon. They're ready to help you whether you're looking to buy a home or refinance your home. They're really amazing folks. They're easy to work with, local. And I mean, Kim started Alabama Home Mortgage because she knew, working before for a big bank, that she wasn't getting folks the deal, because she was restricted by her employer and all this stuff. She's like, I'll just start my own business and give folks the best deal, be the gold standard when it comes to mortgages here in the state. And of course, I think they operate also in Florida and Georgia,
North Carolina too, I believe.
And when you're looking to buy, it could be it's not your first time buying, but the last time it was a headache. You're like, there was surprise stuff. That's not going to be the deal with Alabama Home Mortgage. Nope. Or if you're a first-time home buyer, they can walk you through that process from pre-approval all the way to closing day. And, of course, don't forget about a great refinance deal, whether to get debt off your back, especially credit card debt.
Right.
The interest rate in that is like still 24%, 29% APR?
29% plus, yeah. Yep.
Or it could be you just want to restructure your finances, reinvest in your property or family and help the kids out as they're going off to college or just starting up in a new city after college.
Right.
See, I'll check out Alabama Home Mortgage today. That number, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Now, I kind of want to go back to Tulsi Gabbard, see how she's handled some of these senators. This is Tulsi going toe-to-toe with a senator from Colorado.
Okay.
Michael Bennett, who sounds like a Muppet. This is the guy who sounds like a Muppet, and I think he's going to get mad. He's going to be a mean Muppet.
Oh.
Traitor to the United States of America.
Senator, I will also repeat my answer. He broke the law.
You said earlier that you were offended by a question that my colleague from Kansas asked, which I think was his duty as somebody on this committee to fulfill his responsibility to advise and consent. We are not here to be a rubber stamp for the President of the United States. So let me ask you again, do you believe, as the chairman of this committee believes, as the vast majority of members of our intelligence agencies believe, that Edward Snowden was a traitor to the United States of America?
Senator, if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will work with you to make sure that there is not another Snowden-like leak.
Media, it's not a moment to propagate.
Screw you, buddy.
That's all he's doing. He's trying to make
Edward
a big
Snowden
moment.
revealed the vast abuses. Who's the traitor?
Yeah.
God, let's keep going.
Theories, conspiracy theories, or attacks on journalism in the United States. This is when you need to answer the questions of the people whose votes you're asking for to be confirmed as the chief intelligence officer of this nation. As my colleague said, this is not about you. It's about the people that serve the intelligence agencies of the United States. Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
No.
Nope.
That is not a hard question to answer.
You're right.
When the stakes are this high.
Senator, as someone who has
Your
served
answer,
in
yes
uniform,
or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
as someone who has
I'll go on
worn
to
our
my
uniform
questions.
in combat, I understand how critical our national security
Apparently
is.
you don't.
The ugly face of power. The absolutely hideous face of power. I think Glenn Greenwald, you know, who helped break the Snowden story?
Yeah.
Said this is establishment Washington, and it's living, breathing, unstable, militaristic, status quo perpetuating authoritarian expression. And it's why they can't crumble fast enough. Yep. Hear. What is it in Cato's letters? I know not what treason be, if sapping and betraying the liberties of a people be not treason. It's exactly what Snowden revealed. And if he had gone through proper channels, we wouldn't even know his name. We wouldn't know the information.
Nope, you're right.
And I still remember that Barack Obama State of the Union, and I believe 2014 after the Snowden leaks, where he said, we're going to work to reform the NSA and the things that have come out. And you know how normally one side or the other stands up or whatever? You could hear a pin drop.
Yep.
Because you know what? All these people are scared. And maybe they have every reason to be. Maybe we should have more reason to be scared of these folks. Tulsi and Trump and everybody else, Kash, Patel, yada, 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 are going to try to take on. But let the mask drop then.
Yeah.
And stop hiding behind the Constitution while you violate the very things guaranteed by the Constitution. Merry Christmas! Anyway, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro Services. They're ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs.
Yes, they are, Joey.
It could be all of a sudden you're like, where did all these cockroaches come from?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck is it? Like, I can't even sleep at night. There are so many cockroaches around
That
me.
ain't good, especially if you can hear them.
Or you know how you try to catch one and it gets away?
Yep, flies away.
Yeah. You're like,
Flies
oh,
back
my
in your
goodness.
face.
Oh. And then right around the corner is termite season.
It's coming.
And it's not only property damage that costs you an arm and a leg. You've told me about the swarming.
Yeah. Looks like something right out of The Exorcist. I'll be very honest, it does. Especially when it happens in the middle of the night.
I don't want to do any of that.
No.
So, folks, get ahead of the game. Call up Ashley and that great team at Pest Pro Services at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. They're local folks. They can help you with an emergency, or if you're just looking to prevent anything like termites, or just make sure your house is protected from all those pests out there, go with Pest Pro Services. When you spend your money with them, it stays local. And, well, you're going to be working with skilled professionals you can trust.
Yep.
Again, that number, 265-9990, or you can always go to pbsriverregion.com or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and the team that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those guys on the radio, sent you. I believe Jeff Dice should be on with us when we come back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Authorities switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation in the Potomac River. All 64 people aboard an American Airlines jet that collided with an Army helicopter feared dead. At least 28 bodies have been pulled from the icy waters. No immediate word on the cause of that collision. Some of the confirmation hearings for today, FBI Director nominee Kash Patel and Director of National Intelligence nominee Tulsi Gabbard, both appearing before Senate panels. 6 family members have been killed in a house fire in upstate New York. It happened at a single-family home in Messina, a town near the St. Lawrence River. On Wall Street, the Dow had 240 points. The Nasdaq is adding 38. This is SRN News.
Which varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote.
Call 800-498-2843. 800-498-2843. 800-498-2843.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. Man's best friend deserves nothing but the best. That's what you'll find at MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville. They carry only the highest quality dog food brands. MPM in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Starting February 1st, MPM will be open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Winter on hold. Our nice thaw continues as January ends and February begins. Nice day today, sun and cloud mix, comfortable temperatures for the dead of winter with a high around 73. Mostly cloudy, mild tonight, overnight low in the mid-50s. Showers likely, maybe a few thunderstorms tomorrow. A couple of stronger storms not out of the question, high around 71. Then that leads to a nice weekend. Sunshine, 67 on Saturday, more sun, 71 on Sunday, and then up to about 73, a beautiful Monday ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
1819 News.
Board members from the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts are making it very clear that they had nothing to do with the billboard that was put up in front of their facility that featured iconic scenes from Bloody Sunday in Selma during the Civil Rights era. That scene also had the words "Make America Great Again" pasted over the entire photo. The board held an emergency meeting this past Wednesday regarding that billboard, and they say it was not approved by any museum leadership or city council members. After that meeting, board member Austin Barranco called in to Talk 93.1 with host Joey Clark.
I've actually seen this exhibition at the Chicago Institute of Art. It's an exhibition from artist Spider Martin, who documented the events in Selma, and in the context of a museum is very powerful and moving. And unfortunately, out of context, on a billboard with the Make America Great Again slogan on it, it can be perceived as very divisive. That's why we made the decision to immediately remove it.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Schaefer with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
The city of Pelham is now beginning to look for a new police chief. Current Chief Brent Suggs came to the job from Oklahoma and is now planning to return to that state. Pelham City Council members told WBMA News that they are incredibly grateful for the progress the city has made in public safety under Suggs' leadership. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the river region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
For many children, stability is something they have never experienced. At the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches, we offer hope, healing, and a family to children in need. But behind every success story, our house parents are the heart of our ranches. We're looking for compassionate couples to join our mission. We provide housing, medical benefits, a 401k, paid vacation, and the chance to make a lasting difference. The Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches. Be the love, be the guidance, be the family they need. Visit alsyr.org.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in that conversation, but hold your horses because we're welcoming back to the show, a guest that I should have welcomed back earlier. We have the one, the only Jeff Deist on the show with us. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
Hey, Joey, doing well.
And for folks who don't know, you were for a time Chief of Staff for Congressman Ron Paul, President of the Mises Institute, for about a decade, I believe, written for the Washington Times, Zero Edge, Fox News, Roll Call, The Hill, and 1819news.com. And there's a lot we could cover, but since we haven't talked in so long, I just want your general reaction to this sort of transition into Trump, the inauguration, what we're seeing. What are these times we now live in?
Yeah, it's interesting watching these dog and pony shows in the Senate with these confirmations of Kash, Patel, RFK Jr., Tulsi, Gabbard, etc. You know, we're so far from any sort of real discovery or dialogue or any sort of real questioning with the idea of getting answers. These senators are all using narratives and talking points. I would say with the exception maybe of Rand Paul, who actually said some thoughtful things about vaccines, which he's not anti, but was simply questioning the efficacy maybe of what we now in hindsight understand as a pretty rushed COVID vaccine. So, I mean, it's a little dispiriting in the sense that you get the feeling that this was a watershed election. People really want something new and different. And there's an old guard in Congress who's determined not to let that happen. When I look at these hearings, I think to myself, you know, the U.S. House, which is elected every 2 years, should be full of 30 and 40 somethings. And the U.S. Senate perhaps should be full of 50 and 60 somethings, not 80 and 90 something. So we really need to start unelecting some of these clowns, and you know, the sooner the better. And let's not forget our own Senator, Mr. Shelby, was quite long in the tooth before he retired. God bless him in his dotage. And of course, Chuck Grassley is still in the Senate. I believe he's 92 years old. Mitch McConnell is having serious health problems. It's clear that he is exhibiting similar symptoms to Joe Biden towards the end of his term. So this is not a joke. And you know, not only are these senators, especially the House, is supposed to be a little more raucous. The Senate should be a more deliberative body, and frankly, members of the Senate should be more accomplished and more circumspect in life. So, you know, it's not just that they're too old; it's that they're not behaving correctly. In other words, they now have social media, and so they want to make themselves stars, and they want to be political actors rather than really the representatives that they're supposed to be. So, you know, I guess we're fortunate here in that Katie Britt is fairly young. and I think can be hopefully turn into the kind of person we want her to be. And Tommy Tuberville has shown a lot of independence in the Senate, and also some thoughtfulness. This sort of idea, oh, he's an Alabama football coach or Auburn football coach, okay, but I think he's been a good, happy surprise. So down here in Alabama, I think there's some bright spots.
Yeah, and one thing on the generational shift that isn't happening fast enough, I've noticed, though, with Trump's, not just his top cabinet picks, but Hegseth's very young, Kristi Noem's very young. I mean, you're looking at Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, we're all talking folks, I guess, in their 40s. And then you look at the deputy level, you're talking folks in their 30s. And it's almost like, okay, maybe you had that in the Clinton era, but it could be you have to go all the way back to the 30s to see that sort of youth in the executive branch at top positions. And do you think that bodes well from the executive branch side of things?
Well, I love it. I think that's very, very important. America needs some new energy along with this new thinking. And also let's not forget, there's a very non-ideological component to all this. Trump's not an ideological guy. He isn't animated by theory. Frankly, for folks on the left, he's not animated by social conservatism. He's pro-union. He came up through a very cosmopolitan real estate scene in New York City, where he was involved with all kinds of LGBT folks and Jewish folks and Black folks. He has a very glamorous trophy wife and a few wives in the rearview mirror. So, well, I mean, you put all that in a blender, you'd think the left would prefer him to some, let's say, red state governor, Mike Huckabee type or something. But instead, we get this incredible Trump derangement syndrome. But I'm a recovering ideologue, as you probably know, Joey. And so I really like seeing this idea that America has some actual real problems, some structural problems that we need to grapple with. And so the idea that RFK Jr. May agree far more with Bernie Sanders, who was fruitlessly grilling him, I guess, yesterday on what we might call the issues, than he might agree with Rand Paul. The idea that Tulsi is a former Democrat, Kash Patel is talking about basic competence and fairness at the FBI, which really has been weaponized. I mean, it's always been a weapon for political uses. It certainly was in its heyday, the J. Edgar Hoover days, but it needs to be a law enforcement apparatus that the American people can at least mildly trust. That's a real problem in America. So I'm very pleased by what you bring up is the youthiness of these people. I mean, Kristi Noem's actually in her 50s. She tries her damnness to look 28 forever, and that woman has never seen a camera she couldn't get in front of. She's an annoying lightweight, and I think one of the real dimwits in his picks. Hegseth, I don't know much about. But nonetheless, here we are, and it's refreshing to see some new faces.
I actually met Kristi Noem in person when she spoke at a GOP dinner here in Alabama, and she just happened to sit at my table right next to me before she spoke. And you're right; it's a little, it's worse than Geraldo Rivera.
Well, Joey, easy there, son, easy. She's old enough to be your mother.
And thank you for that reminder. And
God bless your departed mother, by the way.
I know, but I was about to start playing that Ronnie McDowell song, right? What's the name of Older Women or something? Now I'm off track, Jeff. But when I look at Doge in particular is what I want to move to next. I think the Doge idea seems to be moving quickly, but in as much as they're freezing things, and I think Russ Vogt there at OMB is really a good pick. This malicious compliance, I believe Senator Brett is the one who put that out there when, in the name of shutting down DEI, apparently the information in ROTC about the Tuskegee Airmen was pulled. And they're like, wait, that's not what we meant. And it seems like across the board, as much as Doge is already doing some good work, you're seeing the federal bureaucracy be what we thought it would be. How do you think this shakes out, this sort of protracted war with the bureaucracy and the Doge types?
Well, the bureaucracy is so vast that you can't expect effective or fast communications between them. And whenever you try to do something using a blunt instrument, I think you're going to have fallout. Look, this war will never end. These are union employees. They won't go away easily. The vast majority of federal government workers are not political appointees. They don't come and go with presidential administrations. A lot of them have been working from home, quote unquote, since COVID and never returned. That's coming up on 5 years now, since about March of 2020, if you recall. That's 5 years. As a result, many of them have adopted lifestyles, which include not needing daycare for children, for example. I won't comment on their work ethic since there's 2 million of them. But, nonetheless, this is an entrenched bureaucracy. It's not going to go away easily or quietly. And if you can look at smaller countries that have tried to face these problems. The former Soviet Union had a bureaucratic class. Places like Italy and Spain and France, where you have a much larger per capita civil service and a more entrenched civil service in terms of its legal protections. We think ours is entrenched. Theirs is really entrenched. And it's tough. I mean, it's very, very tough. You have a lot of people who can retire early, receive maybe 75% of their highest salary at the end. It's a pretty sweet deal. And people are not simply going to go away without kicking and screaming. And what they're going to try to do is outlast Trump, right? Keep their head down, stick around for 4 years, and maybe figure out if the Democrat gets elected. So that's going to be very, very tough. And I think Elon has really set himself up here in a way that you can have a very public falling out between him and Trump if this doesn't work out correctly. And let's not forget that the bulk of federal spending, the vast majority of federal spending is so-called mandatory spending. Is a nice term, as opposed to discretionary. In other words, Congress doesn't start each year crafting a budget that starts at zero. It starts each year crafting a budget that has a baseline of all mandatory spending for the year, which includes so-called defense. And defense is not just the $1 trillion we give to the Department of Defense, DoD. It's hidden in many, many, many parts of the budget, like the State Department diplomacy budget, foreign aid, even a lot of the domestic budget, like HHS. So defense spending is actually more than $1 trillion a year. Social Security and Medicare, the two big federal entitlements, are more than $1 trillion a year. And of course, interest on the national debt is now well more than $1 trillion a year, even though just less than 5 years ago, fewer than 5 years ago, it was just a few hundred billion. Interest rates have risen on Treasury debt, so now we have about 1.2 trillion there. So those four things, interest, defense, Social Security, and Medicare, are basically untouchable, both mechanically, structurally, and also as a political matter. So it's awfully hard to cut anything significant from the budget unless you're willing to tackle those things. And Trump is not the kind of guy who wants to give people austerity, to put it mildly.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Again, folks, we're talking to Jeff Deist, and you can always follow him on X at Jeff Deist, the former Twitter. Now, with the move in technology, people, I kind of want your sense of this. Eddie and I have been having a gentleman's disagreement over like Zuckerberg's supposed mea culpa. And then you see folks like Mark Andreessen, you see folks like David Sachs, you see all these Silicon Valley types. It seems they've had these moments. Even Andreessen the other day was saying, oh, it's kind of like the Emperor Has No Clothes story, and Elon was the kid that pointed out that the Emperor's naked. Or I think he even cited Havel in The Green Grocer. And so do you think these guys have actually had that epiphany, realizing, oh, we can be the sort of netizens, the free folks we once thought we might be in the early days of the internet, and we don't have to deal with the sort of censorship regime and pressure from DC? I mean, what do you make of these folks?
Well, if you look at the big tech titans, the ones you've heard of, the household names, the Larry Ellisons, the Zuckerbergs, the Steve Jobs, the Apple people, Tim Cook. I mean, these have all been generally left progressives for many, many decades, both in terms of their personal outlook and in terms of their corporate activities, and especially in terms of their donation activities, almost overwhelmingly to Democrats. So that's just a fact. The fact that some of them are changing their tune now, I guess we'll take it. All of a sudden, Mark Zuckerberg is dressing like Eminem or something. And I can hear my kids saying, "Who's Eminem?" And so, I mean, yeah, Johnny come lately. And let's face it, you talk about epiphanies. Well, it's a lot easier to have an epiphany when you're a billionaire. Because when you're a billionaire, you have multi-generational wealth. You don't have to worry about yourself and your posterity for many, many generations. And that gives you a certain freedom to engage in things like spending all your time with Donald Trump and starting Doge. So, I don't want to be run by billionaires. I understand the left's discomfort with having Elon as this sort of unelected person who, with a single tweet, can probably affect a close political race. So he has a lot of power in that sense, and I get the discomfort with it. But I'm in this for populism's sake. I want MAGA or Trumpism or whatever it is, warts and all, to be focused on average people and how average people can live, how average people can get ahead, how average people can save money, buy a house, get married, whatever it might be. And I that's what I want to talk about, not transhumanism with Larry Ellison.
Now, you mentioned earlier, in as much detail as you've like, you kind of did this change in life from being a recovering, say, ideologue, as you put it. For folks who are out there who maybe have been paint by number, whatever the Republicans say, paint by number, whatever the Democrats say, or maybe they've gone very deep into the, say, libertarian world and read all the economics, read all the political philosophy. I mean, what has that change been like for you? What do you mean by that change?
Well, I think a lot of us wanted a less political world, right? Everything seemed so deeply politicized, especially when Trump came along, and all of a sudden it wasn't just Bush versus Clinton, but it was this existential crisis where, if one candidate or the other won, the other side would feel just totally vanquished. They would feel like they were living in an occupied country with a hostile invading army or something like that. And that sounds like hyperbole, and maybe it is, but look, they called George W. Bush and Mitt Romney a Nazi too. But let's not forget. Let's not act like things were kumbaya. And we've had things in this country that were far deeper divisions than today. The New Deal period, Roosevelt was a hated figure across much. We had a nasty war in the 1860s, of course, and we've had other periods where I would say we were more divided. But this feels like a time when people are unburdening themselves of ideology and saying, hey, what works? How can you grapple with this? And for myself, I was always in this hyper-libertarian sphere of arguing for a less political world. We want most of human conduct to be governed by the marketplace, or the family, or by one's own personal morality, or religious morality, or simply win-win, mentality. And whereas the state and politics are a war by other means, as they say, and it's this zero-sum, winner-take-all mentality, unlike the marketplace. And gee whiz, we don't want to live these hyper-political lives. People want to come home at the end of the day and just pay their mortgage and watch the game or be a soccer mom or do whatever it is. They shouldn't have to be, getting on Twitter and doom scrolling about Trump's latest executive order. Right? We don't like that. But the problem is that, as I've found out, of course, is that politics is interested in you, whether you're interested or not. And especially once you have children, the future becomes, your future orientation becomes really acute. And so, the political landscape has changed so much since 2015 with Brexit and Trump that you can scarcely imagine. You can scarcely imagine what we're seeing today and some of the rhetoric today, and Trump talking about getting rid of the income tax, replacing it with tariffs. I mean, things have moved so quickly that I think people like me have been forced to rethink whether politics can work, and I think it can.
Yeah, and I've been doing those rethinkings myself, as you know, reevaluations of all that, and I feel like I've changed, but not too much. I still think the goal should be a freedom, but I try to use that or think of that word in a more spiritual sense now, and I'm not like trying to be hippy-dippy here. I mean, having that sort of inner freedom, that inner conscience, and by freedom we mean in more a sense of flourishing and dignity. And you have systems where people can have that family, can live that quiet life, and they don't have politics showing up, beating down their door, whether literally or figuratively. And I don't know. I see the change that's happened in just the week It seems some things never change, the sort of hysterics and cliches of the sound bites like we just played earlier on the show. But, maybe we are breaking that sort of, well, Trump said it himself. I think we're breaking the New Deal coalition. And it's not like, we should relish just breaking the New Deal coalition. It's more like it's about time. As we just talked about with people and generational turnover, I think sometimes systems, you need to just reassess it.
Well, we're 100 years into the progressive experiment in terms of income tax, central banking, and especially social insurance, what we call Social Security. And we're nearly, 60 years now into the Great Society programs of LBJ and welfareism and food stamps and all those things. And we haven't really eliminated poverty in this country. And if anything, and I think RFK has crystallized this, and God bless him for doing it, both our physical and mental health on average in this country is not good. This is a country that used to be consider itself robust and won a couple of world wars and had a can-do attitude. And now it feels like we're aging, we're slipping into too many medications, too much food, too much drink, etc. And so, it does feel like this sort of holistic new dawn or new awakening in America, but it's not particularly ideological. And that's, I think, a healthy thing.
Well, and I think just sticking to the libertarians, as I know them, it is great to see Trump keep his promise to pardon Ross Ulbricht. I remember when I first got into Bitcoin around 2013, seeing Ross's story, and that shows, even it might be small to some people, some folks don't even know about it, but politics does work on that. And I think that's just a great thing. And maybe we just need these pragmatic, practical people that you're not always going to agree with, but they get deals done and they build coalitions. And I think that's the future. It's going to be messy, though. I've been saying all week that we've been making the same mistakes for generations now. Let's at least give people a chance to make new mistakes. I think that's the best way forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I always appreciate your time, Jeff. If folks want to check out what you're thinking about, how can they do so?
Just find me on Twitter at Jeff Deist, all one word.
Well, appreciate it, sir. And if you're ever in town, let me know.
I shall come down and say hello, Daddy.
Absolutely. Eddie, he's just said hi.
Appreciate it, buddy. I'd love to see you again.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Again, folks, that is Jeff Deist, and always love having him here on the program. 272-9228 if y'all want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228.
I got caught up in a Marsha Blackburn.
Yeah.
So she calls out, she just called out Durbin on X and said that you are the reason you are blocking our subpoena request for the Epstein logs. He put out there, I didn't know anything about it. Well, she put the receipts out there where she's requested it for I don't know how long.
Marsha Blackburn on Twitter?
On Twitter. I just saw it a second. I mean, it really, the fact that she put it out there and then said, here's the receipts.
My heart.
I need to start playing that Ronnie McDowell song for him.
That's why I love that woman.
It just caught me completely off guard that somebody actually named the name. You, sir, are holding this up.
She's.
I love that.
Spitfire, man.
I absolutely love that. I'll pull it back up and send it to you.
Here's I found a short clip about a minute here. Here's her in committee kind of asking for that.
Case, I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records, and I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this, and I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
Thank you for that.
Wow. So little Dick Durbin.
I'm glad of that. And they're calling each other out on several things, and I'm glad to see that. I'm really glad to see that.
Oh yeah, it is. It's kind of I don't know. It's a weird time. Like it does seem like it's not just theatric. There is a lot of theatrics going on. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like a lot of these folks, like the Adam Schiff clip that we have not played on the show yet, we were hearing it off air as a preview.
That one's
Adam
good.
Schiff comes, like, they hate each other. Adam Schiff and Kash Patel hate each other.
Does everyone not hate Schiff, to be fair, though?
I hope so. Well, not the people of California that's elected into the United States Senate.
According to Schiff, not the officers that are standing in that courtroom, which Patel kind of challenged him on that. Yeah. It's going. I love this, and today with Tulsi, and the whole Edward Snowden thing.
Yeah,
I don't know how many, because we didn't get to watch the whole thing. I don't know how many people are going to ask her. You know, do you think that
Snowden's a traitor?
Right. I don't think, and I think most Americans either don't know as much of it about it as they should, or believe the man not to be a traitor at all, but to be quite the patriot. I would love for him to set back on soil here as a free citizen.
Yeah. No, and it's something
that's when I know we're back.
I've called him a hero many a time. Because I think he revealed, it was very early as I was watching politics, just producing for Dan and Greg. And I remember when that came out. I'd been 2 years out of college, and it's like, wait, they're doing what?
And that's the thing. When I read it, I didn't want to believe it. It was a kind of an opening for me, but it opened that book where it made me go down a lot of rabbit holes, where it's completely changed my way of
And
thinking.
a lot of folks have tried to say, like, I think Rich Lowry said in National Review that he like put it out on WikiLeaks. It's like, what are you high, Rich Lowry? So many people are high these days. Like WikiLeaks, Julian Assange and Snowden and Greenwald and Lord Portis, the ones that work with Snowden, they were not friends.
Nope.
Assange was pissed because they wouldn't just put everything out. Or like he wanted just a big document dump, because Snowden's like, no, there's a lot of stuff we shouldn't put out. I just have it as background so we understand these things. And we're going to do it responsibly. At The Guardian, I believe Greenwald put it out, and at the Washington Post. And it was this huge story. The New York Times covers it too. Of course, Times covered the spying all the way back during the Bush administration. And it's like during then, they're like, oh, you caught us. And what usually happens in Washington, they go, oh, you caught us, so let's change the law to make what we were doing legal.
For us.
Well, just make it legal.
Did you say Washington or Montgomery?
Yeah. Wait, they caught us doing dastardly things again. What are we going to do, boys? We'll just make it legal.
Fix that law. Fix that.
Change consultant to business.
And one thing I'm fascinated by, because I know I've seen quotes and conversations from General Flynn, for instance, going years back, that often on the battlefield, I wonder what Tulsi's going to say about this, what Pete Hegseth is going to say about this, that often the intelligence folks in Washington were useless to them.
Yes. Well, you know that, Joe.
Right.
It's just the separation from the battlefield to the information. Like if you play the party they used to play back in the 50s, I tell you a secret, we form a circle. By the time it gets back to me, it's completely different.
Right.
And not only that, you have people's thoughts and desires in there too. Hey, they're not going to tell you the exact truth. They're going to tell you what the truth they want you to believe that helps them.
And Rand Paul on Judge Napolitano's show the other day, it's a great interview. They did it, I think, last Thursday. A really great interview, because the judge was all upset with Tulsi Gabbard softening supposedly her stance at 702, and Rand Paul said, wait. What she said is actually didn't satisfy Susan Collins, and what actually Tulsi is saying, it's something Rand Paul kind of clarified that I didn't know. Rand Paul said most of the time when I'm fighting this fight against 702 abuses, the folks on the other side who always want these programs and more power think you just don't want us to catch bad guys.
That's easy.
And it's like
easy blame.
No, we're all for the program.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have electronic surveillance powers, the greatest known to man, and use it against the enemy, go for it. Even like the Pegasus software, where it used to be, it was you had to click on something for them to get in your phone. They now have this thing where it's zero click. It's just on your phone.
It's just there.
And the idea is like you're allowed to use that against our foreign adversaries, but why are you constantly using this against Americans? You're like, well, we weren't doing that. Have you ever heard of parallel construction? The FBI's done it many a time.
Busted constantly for it.
And what about all the stuff that doesn't hit the news? Come on. And it's this sort of power. Again, I don't see confident statesmen screaming and yelling in Senate committees. I'm a damn talk show host. Screaming and yelling and being a jackass comes with the territory. For better or for worse, it is. I'm not a United States senator sitting there in a hearing room. And the way they are going about this, they don't come across as confident, enlightened, wise statesmen. They come across as somebody who's scared of the people that put money in their pockets and of the people that, well, don't want their power reduced. Maybe my hunch, my gut feeling about that's wrong. That's how it comes across to me.
I don't think so.
272-9228. And it is remarkable how Washington, D.C. sometimes feels like a foreign country. The culture, the inside culture.
Just out of touch with the everyday man of us. Yeah.
The level of entitlement, I can't express enough. Like how many times people just said, oh, we're on the tip of the spear. We are the pinnacle. We know exactly what's going to happen. And if they go into work feeling like they control the world. I mean, that is how it operates. I mean, it's just you can feel it when you get on the metro and when you get off, right there at the Capitol. Everybody, all the 26, 27-year-olds that don't know a damn thing feel like they're going up there and they're going to change the world.
Right.
And they don't realize that it's not them, it's the lobbyists that are dropping off the checks.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I love all those little subtle things. And you know me. I almost want to, I'm not as witty as some Shakespearean characters, but I'd almost want to become an anti-Machiavellian. Like understand how these people work in order to sort of mock them, expose them. Like I'm tired of this. Because I'll put it this way, folks, as simple as I can put it. You know, the old idea, I think it's Thomas Paine, government is a necessary evil. And you could be like, you know what? It is a fallen world. We're on the other side of paradise in this. We're east of Eden. So, yep, there's going to be evils in this world, especially when you're talking about how human beings control and organize one another. So maybe good old Tom Paine's got a point that government is a necessary evil. What I find fascinating is over the years, how much people have expanded the definition of what is necessary.
Point. What do you do when the government is creating a lot of, or if not most of the evils?
Right.
We're here.
Right. And then essentially it becomes not even Machiavelli himself. He's like, you only do evil when you absolutely have to.
I mean,
and it's like, and so that moment of like, have to, we got to do this, we got to do that. It's like we slowly chipping away. And it's one thing to have a government that can kill people and break stuff. But when you're using the political process for almost every aspect of human life under the sun, no matter what you buy in the store, where you send your kids to school, what they're going to be learning in the school, or all the standards of all your medical industries, you just go down the list. Like, are we really relying on this profane process, this competition of wills to actually organize our societies? No wonder we're a bit of a basket case. The only thing I think that saves our ass from being in the fire is, well, we inherited a lot of wealth as a nation.
Yep.
We inherited a lot of good things as a nation. And again, the house that was built generations ago, it's kind of falling apart. And I think maybe that's what you're seeing. You're sort of seeing the birth pangs of a new coalition, and folks are going to be yowling like a cat, as you saw with some of the senators in these clips, as we go through this process. Again, as I keep saying, we were making the same mistakes decade after decade. Sure. At least give people a chance to make new mistakes.
Yeah, but how many times have we said the joke? They don't go up there to solve the problems. They go up there to campaign on the problem.
And manage the problems.
Yeah. And blame the other side. All I need is a little bit more time and a little bit more money.
More power.
Yeah. A little bit more regulation, a few more federal employees. We'll solve this bad boy.
Yeah, but at what point do you go, you know what? That didn't work. And I hope we're at that point now where that didn't work, so we're going to try something new.
I honestly think that the people are waking up, man. It's taken a while, but
I agree with you on that.
I don't know if we covered it here, if I'm recalling something else, but I saw Charles Barkley, of all people, talk about, Democrats, Republicans, all the parties are the same, to hell with both of them.
Yep.
All they are concerned about is money. I'm looking for the person. I mean, Chuck said that.
Yep. And it's hiding in plain sight.
Exactly.
This sort of stuff. It really is.
Just pay attention.
We are way over time. But first, this part of the program, before we hit the break, brought to you again by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. As we said earlier, they are a full-service jewelry shop. So it could be you've got an old ring that you inherited.
Right.
Maybe you've had it for a while, like a decade. And you're going to cherish it like your mother gave it to you. But you're thinking about, well, how much is this thing worth?
Right, you don't know. You want to insure it?
Right,
You don't know what
especially
you're
after
insure it
this
for.
latest inflationary cycle we've gone through.
Gold's going up.
Have them appraise it for you. It's really, they're the gold standard when it comes to appraisals. And of course, they can help you with repair work. Could be that piece of jewelry you inherited. It's one of your favorite things to wear. You wear it all the time. It breaks. They can repair it. Or maybe you wear it all the time and it's a little
dull on it.
It's drab.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how about have it shine and shimmer like it's brand new again? That can give a spa treatment.
Spa
there at
treatment,
Dillon Rings.
baby.
And of course, they have an amazing selection, not to mention the incredible custom design work Josh Ryder can do there. So y'all get by, see Josh and Leslie Ryder at Dillon Rings. They're at 119 Brown Springs Road, right here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway, kind of on the back end of the AUM complex. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those guys on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now. This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Guardian Credit Union believes this is the year you take control of your financial future. Resolutions are a great start, but Team Guardian is here to help you all year long. Whether you're starting fresh, planning big, or fine-tuning your budget, our team wants to help you make a plan you can stick to. Plus, our mobile app lets you set savings goals, track spending, and build your budget all in one place. Come visit any of our branches so we can get to know you. Happy New Year from all of us at Guardian Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Tucker Pecan is in a brand new location at 1935 Mulberry Street, but they've still got the same great products they had when they were downtown. Here's David Little to tell you more.
Hey, David Little at Tucker Pecan here. I tell you what, since we have moved, we've had great response. We have lots and lots of people coming by our new store on 1935 Mulberry Street, and it's a lot of fun. You know why? Because we're getting to add new items. We're adding new candies, new jellies, new jams. We even have a honey called Hot Pecan Butter. It's so good. We have a hot honey. We have a peach jam. We have a hemp jelly that is mangoes, pineapples, and jelly. It is so good. We've got all those things. Plus, we've got all the great candies we've had before. And, you know, we're in a very convenient location. You don't have to go to downtown. You come to Tucker Pecan at 1935 Mulberry Street. Come shop with us, and we'll take care of all your gift needs, candies, or if you're just hungry, come by, and we'll fix you up.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Here we are in the dead of winter, and we've got a forecast that is almost spring-like. For tonight, mostly cloudy and rather mild. Overnight low temperature down to the mid-50s. Showers likely tomorrow. A few thunderstorms possible. A couple of stronger storms not out of the question. High 71. That leads to a really nice weekend forecast. 67 on Saturday with sunshine. More sun, 71 on Sunday. Monday's beautiful, high 73. I'm calling it winter on hold, and it's a good forecast. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASE loan payment from your phone, anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. YourASECreditUnion.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
Hi, this is Sharon with the Depot Furniture Gallery. Choosing to advertise with Blue Water was an easy decision to make. Our goal was to increase sales, and they reached the audience that we wanted to connect with. Our sales rep has been great to work with, and we couldn't be happier with the results.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. You can always watch online at YouTube, Joey Clark Live there, or on X at the Joey Clark. And a good bit of following here today. Appreciate everybody watching online. We're just a local talk show out of Montgomery, Alabama, but we cover all the things. Would y'all say that? We cover all the things?
The important ones.
Yeah, we try. We at least shoot for it.
Every morning.
Yeah. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you with buying or selling here in the River Region real estate market. And it's not just buying and selling. If you want to rent out your home, rent out that property, they can manage it for you, make it a performing asset, get you tenants in there. Or it could be you're looking to get into the game yourself and join the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. It could be you're looking to be a more knowledgeable private player. Maybe you do want to get into sort of managing properties and these sorts of things. Or it could be you want to be a full-on real estate agent. It's a great way to study up for that licensing test. It's the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. Bo's 50 years of experience here in the River Region real estate market come to bear. So y'all check them out today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson, the Goodson Group, great sponsor here of the program. Guys, I think we're actually in trouble, though.
What do we do now?
Well, we're sitting over here all confident, and Jeff Dice is like, I think people are having that epiphany moment, like the emperor has no clothes.
Right.
And we forgot that these folks are formidable. The resistance is strong. The resistance is strong. Here's what I meant. Don't question it.
Just say
Don't.
Okay.
Question it. What you want an example? You want an example?
I need an example.
I got your example.
I need an example.
I'm glad you said that. Governors are out there. The resistance is
They're out
strong.
there.
You felt it. Americans, lo and behold, like democracy and feeding their children. So they're going to fight for these things.
No.
But here's what there's a court order. Who believes Donald Trump's going to care what the courts say? Who believes he's not going to do this? We're still finding glitches in our things. We're trying to access these systems again. They're not functioning correctly.
It's such crap.
His life has been a living hell since he lost the election. That's as far as I made it through the interview before I turned it off.
This thing has a glitch, man.
You'd
have a problem too.
Oh, we dodged a huge bullet
The resistance is strong. Isn't that what he
I'm
said?
glad you said that. Governors are out there. The resistance is strong. You felt it. Americans, lo and behold, like democracy and feeding their children.
That dude's a walking meme, man.
I do like both of those items.
Like
And that's
democracy and feeding your children?
Yes, that's why I put Trump in office.
See, I'm more a fan of authoritarianism and screw them kids. Like,
What
Yeah,
kid?
is that really what they think?
Look at our lifestyle. I can see you backing that up now.
Like, it's just not like, what in the world is this? You don't want kids to eat. Like, because they put a pause on federal spending?
Again.
This is what I mean. It's like, it's like, as much as people think, oh, we've changed, we've progressed so much. It's like, how's this different than like a patron system in ancient Rome? Like, it's kind of like, come on,
the
guys.
BSers then, and you didn't get canceled.
Well, you'd write it on the walls.
Right.
And, yeah.
Some good
It's like-
graffiti.
Yeah, the old school.
Yeah.
Old school X and
I'm going to
Twitter.
make a tablet.
They'd write it in blood too, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, little
Got to get the point across.
little fighting, little murdering, little.
little loving.
You said it. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it.
You certainly have power. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of the?
I did.
This closing.
So I watched this. I guess it was today.
No, yesterday.
I could not believe it.
Hold on. We got to hear it again. We got to hear it again.
I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
She even laughs. But
Yeah. Well, I heard it, and then I had to look up. I was like, what's he talking about? He's literally talking about baby clothes. He's talking about two different onesies that a baby wears.
You support these onesies.
Supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
So all I could think about was, who was it that said that asked Zuckerberg made this meme?
Oh, that was Patrick Leahy, Mr. Zuckerberg.
So when I hear things like that, They're just too old, Joey. They're just too old.
Are you supportive of these
These onesies?
Let's go to Ray Bowles. Ray, are you supportive of these onesies?
All onesies should be burned.
Look, have you ever? Let me ask you a question. Have y'all ever missed a football game? Let's say an Auburn Alabama football game, and you recorded it, and you don't want anybody talking about it.
Yeah.
That's what I did with that hearing. Guys, you're killing me.
Well, Ray.
Well, that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Yeah.
Last night, I was going to do it last night when we went out to eat with some friends at El Rey, which is a really nice restaurant.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
The parking lot's no good, and she about broke her leg getting out of the car. And now she's in a boot. And it's just been a hot mess, and I haven't got. And so I've been avoiding the internet. I've been avoiding people. Somebody will call me and want to talk to me. I said, "Do not talk to me. I'm going to watch it tonight. No matter what happens, I'm watching this thing tonight." And yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
You are so going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm just giddy about watching this thing. Do you think they're going to let him in?
Yeah, I think actually does.
I think so, but
it depends on some of the old gray Republicans.
That's what makes me a little nervous.
Hold on, let's hear that again.
That organization, I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
That was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I can't vote for you because you're supportive of these onesies.
I want to see a picture of it. I mean, what are we talking about here?
They're literally baby onesies.
I know that. I mean, is it
There
because of
they
the
go.
color?
Here they are.
I mean,
okay. So long as they're washed, man.
It says unvaxxed, not afraid. Are you supportive of these onesies? These militantly anti-vax ones. Sorry, Ray, I'm ruining it for you. I'm sorry.
I know. It's just fine. This is great. I can't wait till tonight. I went to put the news on last night to get a clip, and then you had the whole plane crash, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely heartbreaking that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I can tell you, we have been as busy as bees as always. If you need a floor, call us 285-8117, and we won't treat you like they did that poor lady that escorted out of the building when she went to come to work after they fired her.
When you're fired, you're fired.
Well, that's something like Kerry would do. If I fired you, you'd show up the next day. Yeah.
I'm not really fired.
I think Larry David actually
Yeah,
did that.
I think he did too, yeah.
Well,
yeah. The only person that we fired, that Dad fired, he don't fire anybody, but he fired Mama one time because they got in a fight. He cost me 2 new computers and another telephone line. I'm like, look, if y'all are going to fight, don't do it in the store. It's too expensive now.
So,
that was
folks,
like 20-something years ago. Yeah.
so folks can still call you at 285-8117.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come out and give you that free measurement. Next thing you know, you got floors down. Call us today, guys.
Appreciate it, Ray.
Thank you,
Can't
Ray.
wait to talk tomorrow. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
See you, brother.
We're out of time here. Good show today.
It was a good
It was
show.
fun.
Are you supportive of these ones?
I'm convinced he thinks they're for him, dude. That's it. Gotta be.
Old man wear?
Yeah. He refuses to get in.
You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
Oh, these fake ass puppets.
Oh,
Sometimes they're
killing
fed
me,
such
man.
wonderful lines. Anyway, y'all stay tuned. Happy hour. Greg Budell. He's next.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
But that's our news. I'm John Scott. While the recovery operation continues,